When we set out to explore the microscopic world inside the human body, we are really choosing to take a gentle step into a realm that is always present, always active, and yet almost entirely unnoticed. It is a world that keeps its own peaceful rhythm, steady and continuous, with motions so subtle and soft that they blend seamlessly into the background of our daily existence. As you settle comfortably and allow the mind to loosen its hold on the day, you may begin to imagine yourself drifting slowly inward, like a traveler moving from a bright and busy landscape into a dimmer, more tranquil space. There is nothing abrupt about this shift. It happens gradually, like twilight deepening or mist settling along a quiet shoreline. With each breath, you move closer to the delicate hum of the body's inner life, a hum so soft that it can only be felt in these moments of stillness. As the outer world fades, the scale of everything begins to change. Colors, shapes, and sensations soften, and in their place, new details start to form, details too small to be seen in ordinary life, yet always present beneath the surface. You may picture an environment shaped not by towering mountains or flowing rivers, but by the gentle contours of cells, membranes, and tiny structures suspended in transparent currents. This inner space has the quality of an underwater world, where movement is slow and fluid, and where even the smallest motion sends delicate ripples outward. Nothing hurries here. Every action unfolds at its own calm tempo, as though the entire landscape were breathing in a patient, unbroken rhythm. Moving deeper, you begin to sense the presence of countless small inhabitant cells of every shape and function, each one quietly performing its task within this harmonious environment. They do not vie for attention or recognition. Instead, they work with soft coordination, maintaining balance and supporting the many processes that keep you alive. You might think of them as tiny lanterns glowing gently in the dimness, or as leaves drifting along a slow-moving stream. They gather nutrients, respond to signals, release energy, and repair the tissues around them. Even though each cell is microscopic, their combined efforts create the steady continuity of your entire body, moment after moment. The body, from this perspective, appears less like a single structure and more like a vast ecosystem, made up of trillions of individuals working together in peaceful coexistence. Some of these microscopic inhabitants are cells that belong strictly to you: skin cells, muscle cells, nerve cells, and each has its own delicate architecture. Others are microorganisms that live in partnership with your body, forming what scientists call the human microbiome. These tiny companions dwell on your skin, along your digestive tract, within your mouth, and in many other hidden places, each contributing in its own way to the subtle balance that your body maintains. Their presence is not intrusive or alarming. Instead, it feels like a quiet community, one that has learned to share space and exchange benefits over a lifetime. As you drift farther into this world, the boundaries between structures grow softer, as though tissues, organs, and systems are blending into a single, continuous landscape. Biology often divides the body into categories: the nervous system, the digestive system, the immune system. Yet, here in the calmness of the microscopic realm, those divisions feel more like artificial labels than true separations. Everything flows into everything else. Signals pass from one region to another like threads of pale light. Fluids move steadily, carrying dissolved oxygen, nutrients, and hormones, each drop following ancient pathways shaped long before you were aware of them. Even at this tiny scale, the body is constantly adjusting its inner conditions, warming and cooling, storing and releasing energy, balancing water and minerals, all without disruption, all without noise. As you observe this inner landscape, it becomes easy to imagine the cells communicating with one another in soft, chemical whispers. These messages drift gently through the surrounding fluids, touching one cell and then the next, guiding them to act in harmony. Sometimes the signal encourages a cell to begin dividing, helping replenish tissues that require renewal. Other times it prompts a cell to rest, conserve energy, or shift its function to support a nearby structure. These processes resemble the rhythms of nature, the rise and fall of tides, the slow opening and closing of petals, the careful unfolding of new growth. Everything contributes to an overarching sense of balance, known in biology as homeostasis, a word that simply describes the body's remarkable ability to maintain stability within itself, even as the outside world continues to change. As you linger here, supported by the stillness of this microscopic environment, you might begin to appreciate the number of lives unfolding within you. Trillions of cells work quietly, each one a miniature world of activity. Trillions more microorganisms accompany them, adding their own subtle contributions. It may seem almost impossible to imagine such vast numbers, especially when the scale feels so small. Yet there is no sense of crowding or disorder. Instead, the environment feels spacious, almost expansive, as though every inhabitant has exactly the room it needs to carry out its gentle tasks. Even the tiniest bacteria in the folds of your skin or within the quiet corridors of your gut glide easily through their routines, content in their role within this intricate and peaceful inner ecosystem. Here, in the heart of your descent, the movement feels quieter still. Molecules drift with serene purpose. Membranes open and close like slow, rhythmic breaths. Organelles within each cell perform their roles with delicate precision, converting nutrients into energy, mending structures, and maintaining the cell's inner calm. A sense of continuity fills the space, the knowledge that cells are continually renewing themselves. Some reach the end of their cycle and gently give way to newer cells, just as older leaves fall to nourish the soil beneath them. Others begin fresh, vibrant, and ready to join the ongoing flow. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is strained. The body simply renews itself as it always has, in an unbroken rhythm that supports your life from its earliest beginnings. As this part of the journey comes to a close, you sense something deeper about this inner world, that it is not separate from you at all. It is you, every cell, every microscopic companion, every gentle process is woven into the fabric of your existence. They do not act for you, they act as you. Their harmony is your stability. And as you allow your attention to rest here, in this tranquil, unseen world, you may feel a soft gratitude for the tireless, peaceful efforts taking place within you. 2. The meaning of life at a tiny scale. To understand the microscopic world that quietly sustains your body, it helps to begin with a soft reflection on what it means for something to be alive. Life, especially at the smallest scale, is not defined by loud movements or dramatic changes. Instead, it is expressed through subtle organization, gentle responsiveness, and continuous exchange. When we speak of the life of a single cell or a tiny microorganism, we are speaking about processes so delicate and so constant that they blend seamlessly into the background of existence. As you ease into this part of the journey, imagine yourself drifting alongside these smallest forms of life, observing the quiet principles that guide them, principles that also guide your own body from within. At this scale, the definition of life becomes simple and beautifully consistent. Even the smallest cell possesses a clear internal structure. It holds its contents within a protective boundary, keeping certain molecules inside while interacting gently with the surrounding environment. This boundary, often called the cell membrane, is not a rigid wall. It is soft and flexible, allowing nutrients to enter and waste to leave, all through channels and gates that open and close with remarkable sensitivity. In this quiet activity, you can sense the first whisperings of life, the ability to maintain a stable inner world while communicating with the outer one. Inside this boundary lies an intricate network of molecules, each contributing to the cell's gentle functioning. Life requires energy, and so even the tiniest organisms engage in a continuous exchange of materials, converting nutrients into usable fuel. This process is not noisy or disruptive. It unfolds in subtle, rhythmic steps. Molecules move through pathways shaped by billions of years of adaptation, and at each step, the cell uses its energy not only to survive but to stay in balance. This activity is consistent with a universal pattern observed in all living things: the maintenance of homeostasis, the quiet, ongoing effort to keep internal conditions steady, despite the shifting environment outside. Every living organism, no matter its size, also possesses the ability to respond to its surroundings. Imagine a tiny bacterium drifting through fluid. It cannot see in the way humans do, but it senses faint chemical gradients, small traces of nutrients, or shifts in acidity. With slow, deliberate movements, it swims toward more favorable conditions or away from harmful ones. There is no urgency in these actions, just a gentle responsiveness, a way of participating in the environment rather than being overwhelmed by it. Even single cells in your body behave in a similar manner. When they sense a signal, they adjust their behavior, changing their pathways or shifting their activity ever so slightly to support your overall well-being. Another hallmark of life is growth, not always in size but in complexity and continuity. Cells can divide, giving rise to new cells that continue the same quiet work. This process, while essential, is not sudden or chaotic. Instead, it is a careful sequence, with each step gently guiding the next. Within the nucleus of many cells, the DNA coils softly, housing the instructions that allow life to continue from one generation to the next. These instructions determine everything from the shape of the cell to the proteins it produces. When a cell divides, it copies this genetic material so that each new cell carries the same quiet blueprint. It is this simple continuity, this steady handing down of information that allows life to endure across time. When we consider the idea of life at such a small scale, it is helpful to picture the hierarchy that exists in all living things. At the base are atoms, combining to form molecules. These molecules assemble into organelles within cells, creating tiny structures, each with a specific purpose. Organelles work together to support the cell, allowing it to move, feed, and maintain its internal calm. Cells themselves group into tissues. Tissues form organs, and organs build entire organisms. At each level, new properties emerge, properties that cannot be found by looking only at the parts. This emergence gives life its remarkable quality, as simple components combine to form intricate systems that behave in unified, harmonious ways. In the context of the human body, the microscopic scale is not merely foundational, it is essential. Every sensation, every breath, every heartbeat, every movement you make begins with microscopic actions. Sodium ions drifting across a membrane spark nerve impulses. Tiny proteins fold into delicate shapes to carry out chemical reactions, and countless cells cooperate to maintain the steady flow of life. Even when you rest, these microscopic participants continue their gentle work, creating a sense of inner stability that allows the larger body to relax and recover. The simplicity of life at this scale is deeply peaceful. A microbe does not rush. A single cell does not worry about future events or carry memories of past ones. It simply reacts to what is present, maintaining its functions through cycles that repeat with exquisite predictability. This predictability brings a sense of calm. Each process knows its place. Each molecule knows its pathway. Even the complexity of a full organism like a human arises from layers of simplicity arranged in quiet harmony. Life also expresses itself through diversity, even among microscopic forms. Some microorganisms are prokaryotes, simple, ancient cells without a nucleus. Others are eukaryotes, like the cells of your own body, containing many structures and compartments. Despite their differences, both follow the same essential principles. They gather energy, maintain balance, respond to signals, grow, and reproduce. This shared foundation hints at a long evolutionary history, suggesting that all life on Earth, whether a towering tree, a human being, or a tiny bacterium, may be linked by threads of common ancestry stretching back billions of years. The thought is soothing in its own way, a reminder that life persists through time by repeating gentle patterns across countless generations. As you drift deeper into this understanding, you may appreciate that life does not need to be complicated to be profound. Even the smallest cell carries out processes elegant in their simplicity. It uses gradients of ions to produce energy, organizes proteins with quiet precision, and surrounds its contents with a membrane that separates inner calm from outer change. The beauty is in the steadiness. In these processes, repeated over and over, millions of times each second, the microscopic world creates the foundation upon which your entire body rests. Life at a tiny scale is also defined by its adaptability. Conditions change temperature, nutrients, signals, and cells adjust themselves gently to maintain balance. Some alter their shape, others shift their metabolism, and still others release signals to coordinate with their neighbors. This ability to adapt, to shift while remaining whole, is a testament to the resilience that exists even at the smallest levels of existence. It is easy to imagine these adjustments as graceful movements, like leaves turning toward sunlight or water rearranging itself around a pebble in a stream. And so, as you reflect on the meaning of life in this quiet, microscopic sense, you are not merely learning a concept. You are sensing the essence of what sustains you. Life is organization, balance, responsiveness, continuity, and gentle adaptation. These qualities are present in every cell within you, offering stability from within. As you breathe slowly, you may feel a subtle appreciation for the calm persistence of these tiny forms, each one contributing to the larger whole of your being. 3. The body as a living ecosystem. When you begin to imagine the human body as a living ecosystem, a soft sense of familiarity may arise, because the comparison feels natural and intuitive. Just as forests, oceans, and grasslands hold countless forms of life woven together in gentle interdependence, so too does your body hold a vast array of microscopic beings and structures working in quiet harmony. Instead of towering trees and deep rivers, this inner ecosystem contains tissues, cells, and microorganisms living side by side, each contributing in its own subtle way to the smooth functioning of the whole. As you settle into this idea, it becomes easier to sense that you are not a single entity, but a community of countless lives, all participating in the peaceful rhythm that keeps you balanced from moment to moment. At the heart of this ecosystem are your own cells, trillions upon trillions of them, each one a miniature world with its own needs and responsibilities. They form the landscape of your body, arranged into tissues that create the structures you rely on. Muscle cells form fibers that contract gently. Skin cells create protective layers, renewing themselves in silent cycles. Nerve cells extend long, delicate branches that carry signals across the body with quiet precision. In deeper areas, bone cells strengthen your frame, while liver cells perform the soft chemistry that keeps your blood filtered and balanced. Each cell type is different, yet all share the same underlying purpose: to support your existence by working in harmony with one another. Just as forests depend on the interaction between trees, fungi, soil, and the creatures that dwell within them, your body relies on intricate relationships between its many systems. The circulatory system moves nutrients and oxygen the way rivers carry minerals through a valley. The respiratory system exchanges gases with the outer world, much like leaves taking in carbon dioxide and returning oxygen to the air. The digestive system functions like a fertile field, breaking down the food you consume and redistributing its energy throughout your internal landscape. These systems feel separate in diagrams and textbooks, but within you they blend together seamlessly. Communication is constant. gentle, and purposeful. The pulse of your heart, the slow expansion of your lungs, and the quiet work of your organs all contribute to the steady flow that sustains your inner environment. An ecosystem is defined not only by its structures but by the living organisms that inhabit it, and your body is no different. Alongside your human cells live microbial communities, bacteria, fungi, and other microscopic residents that have adapted over time to share space with you. These organisms are not invaders. Most are long-standing companions, forming what scientists call the human microbiome. They live on your skin, lining your digestive system, settling in the folds of your mouth and nose, and occupying many small corners of your body. Together, they form a vast population whose number rivals your own cells. Yet, despite their abundance, their presence is gentle, cooperative, and deeply integrated into your biological rhythm. Thinking of these microbes as part of your ecosystem brings a sense of calm perspective. On the surface of your skin, they create a protective layer, helping maintain a stable environment and preventing more harmful organisms from taking hold. Within your digestive system, they help break down complex food molecules, producing beneficial compounds that your own cells rely on. Some even communicate with your immune system, guiding it to respond appropriately to changes in your internal and external environment. These microorganisms are not separate from you. They have evolved alongside you, creating a partnership that enhances your resilience and supports your well-being. As you imagine this inner community, it may help to picture it as a peaceful landscape, one that stretches not outward but inward. In places, the environment resembles a dense forest of villi, the tiny, finger-like projections lining the intestines, each one covered with microbial residents that help process nutrients. Elsewhere, the environment resembles a calm shoreline, with soft membranes where fluids meet and exchange materials. Within the bloodstream, cells drift like gentle currents of plankton, carried along by the steady flow of plasma, interacting briefly with one another before continuing their quiet journey. In the lungs, the airways branch like trees, ending in small alveoli, where gases diffuse like mist settling on delicate leaves. Every corner of your body holds a different microhabitat, shaped specifically for the kinds of life and processes that flourish there. In this ecosystem, communication is constant, but its tone is always soft. Cells release chemical messengers that drift like faint scents through the air, conveying information across tissues. Hormones travel in the bloodstream, touching distant organs and guiding them into new states of activity or rest. Even the microbiome communicates, sending signals that influence digestion, immunity, and sometimes even mood. These communications form a continuous conversation, one that is always adjusting, always responding, but never rushed. The body's internal harmony is the result of this gentle dialogue, a dialogue that unfolds whether you are awake or asleep, calm or active. Just as natural ecosystems adapt to changes in weather, seasons, and resources, your body also adapts with subtle adjustments. When nutrients rise, hormones shift to store or utilize them. When temperature fluctuates, the circulatory system gently narrows or widens vessels to adjust heat. When you breathe faster or slower, your blood chemistry shifts slightly to maintain a careful balance. These adaptations are rarely noticeable, yet they occur every moment, shaping the stability of your internal environment. The body's ability to maintain homeostasis mirrors the balance found in nature, not a rigid stillness, but a flexible calm, one that adjusts gracefully to internal and external changes. Even the concept of diversity, a central element in any ecosystem, holds true inside you. Your microbiome varies from person to person, shaped by your environment, your diet, your early experiences, and your own unique biology. The community within your gut differs from the one on your skin, and each of these communities differs from those of others. This diversity creates resilience, ensuring that many solutions exist for the challenges your body encounters. In the same way that forests benefit from a wide variety of plants and animals, your inner ecosystem thrives on its mix of cells and microorganisms, each bringing its own strengths to the whole. As you reflect on the body as an ecosystem, a sense of gentle awe may arise. It becomes clear that your life is supported by a symphony of tiny participants, each performing its part quietly and consistently. Nothing acts alone. Even a single breath involves muscles, nerves, blood cells, and microscopic exchanges of gases. A simple movement of the hand depends on signals traveling along neurons, ions flowing across membranes, and energy molecules produced deep within your cells. The cooperation required for even the smallest action is profound, yet these processes unfold without noise or effort, guided by principles that have existed since the earliest days of life on Earth. In this soft understanding, the body becomes not just an organism, but an environment complex, balanced, and deeply alive. And while we often pay attention only to its surface sensations, the true magic lies in the microscopic interactions happening quietly beneath your awareness. As you hold this image gently in mind, you may feel a deeper connection to your inner world, recognizing that it is both intricate and peaceful, both active and restful. 4. The architecture of a cell. To truly understand the microscopic world inside you, it helps to drift gently toward the smallest, complete unit of life, the cell. A cell is not just a structural piece of the body, nor merely a biochemical machine. It is a quiet, self-contained universe, a tiny world enclosed within a soft boundary, constantly maintaining its own internal balance while participating in the larger harmony of the body. As you settle into this part of the journey, imagine yourself slowly approaching a single cell, as though you are floating through an endless, softly illuminated sea. The closer you come, the more its delicate details begin to appear, like the contours of a glowing lantern in the dimness. At first glance, a cell may appear simple, a small, rounded structure suspended in fluid, but as you draw nearer, its complexity reveals itself in gentle layers. The outermost surface, the cell membrane, surrounds the entire structure like a flexible, translucent film. This membrane is not rigid. It shifts and moves like the surface of a calm pond touched by a faint breeze. Made of tiny lipid molecules arranged in a double layer, the membrane forms a protective boundary that keeps the inner environment stable while allowing the cell to interact with the world around it. Embedded within this membrane are proteins that act like soft gateways, opening to let nutrients flow inward or to release substances outward. These proteins change shape as they work, their movements subtle and fluid, like petals slowly unfolding in response to sunlight. Passing through this gentle boundary brings you into the cytoplasm, the soft interior of the cell. It is not an empty space. Instead, it is filled with a clear, gel-like fluid that supports the countless structures floating within it. Molecules drift like tiny currents, moving where they are needed, guided by gradients and delicate chemical signals. At this scale, the cell feels alive with quiet motion. Vesicles glide across the interior like small boats carrying cargo. Filaments stretch and contract, forming a supportive scaffolding that gives the cell shape and flexibility. Every corner of the cytoplasm holds quiet activity. As you take in this calm landscape, the most prominent structure comes into view. It sits near the center of many cells, enclosed by its own double membrane, soft and spherical, as though holding the deepest secrets of the cell. The nucleus contains the cell's genetic material, long, coiled strands of DNA that hold the instructions for building proteins and guiding the cell's behavior. These strands do not float freely. They are wrapped around proteins, organized into delicate, looping structures that fit comfortably within the nucleus's protective boundary. Even though DNA is incredibly long on its own scale, it folds with elegant precision, occupying the nucleus like threads of silk arranged in intricate patterns. The nucleus is quiet, but it is also purposeful. From here, signals are sent that guide the cell's work, ensuring that its activities unfold in a steady and coordinated way. Moving gently away from the nucleus, you encounter the endoplasmic reticulum, a network of soft, folded membranes spreading outward like a series of interconnected corridors. Some of these corridors are studded with ribosomes, tiny bead-like structures that read the information copied from DNA and build proteins accordingly. These ribosomes work patiently, linking amino acids together one by one, forming chains that later fold into the shapes needed for the cell's functions. Despite the complexity of this process, the activity remains calm and rhythmic. Proteins emerge from the ribosomes like newly woven threads, ready to be shaped, transported, or stored. Nearby, the Golgi apparatus appears, a collection of flattened sacs stacked gently atop one another. This structure acts like a quiet sorting station, receiving proteins and lipids from the endoplasmic reticulum and preparing them for their destinations. It modifies them subtly, attaches needed signals, and then places them into small vesicles that drift away like soft bubbles. These vesicles carry their contents to the membrane or to other parts of the cell, ensuring that each molecule arrives where it will be most useful. Continuing your journey through the cell's interior, you encounter the mitochondria, often described as the powerhouses of the cell. But here, in this gentle imagining, they feel less like machines and more like softly glowing islands. Their outer membranes are smooth, but the inner membranes fold inward many times, forming secluded chambers where energy-producing reactions take place. Nutrients and oxygen are processed here in calm, steady motions, creating ATP, the molecule that fuels much of the cell's work. Mitochondria hold their own small circles of DNA, remnants of ancient origins shared with long-lost bacterial ancestors. Their presence within the cell is a quiet reminder of the deep, evolutionary connections that bind all life together. As you float farther, you may notice other structures that support the cell's peaceful operation. Lysosomes contain enzymes that break down worn-out components, recycling materials so they can be used again. Peroxisomes handle various metabolic tasks, quietly detoxifying certain molecules. The cytoskeleton stretches throughout the cell as a network of filaments and tubules, providing shape and guiding movement. These filaments assemble and disassemble with slow, deliberate motions, allowing the cell to adapt gently to changes in its environment. Outside the cell, the view shifts again. Cells rarely exist alone. They nestle beside one another, forming tissues that create organs and systems. Their outer surfaces touch or signal to one another, allowing them to coordinate their activities without words or conscious thought. Cell junctions hold them together softly, like threads weaving a tapestry. Messages pass between them, ensuring that growth, repair, and energy use remain balanced and cooperative. In this way, a single cell is both an independent world and a participant in something much larger. Seeing the cell in this calm, detailed way brings a sense of quiet wonder. It is extraordinary to realize that every cell in your body, whether in your skin, your muscles, your organs, or your brain, shares this architecture. Each cell operates with its own internal calm, performing countless tasks that support your existence. These microscopic worlds continue their steady work regardless of your state of mind. Even in your deepest sleep, they exchange molecules, maintain electrical gradients, repair structures, and keep you balanced. Their rhythm is a constant presence beneath your awareness, one that has supported you from the very beginning of your life. As you drift away from the cell, allowing its tiny details to soften, you may feel a sense of peace in knowing that such intricate harmony exists within you. Every cell, despite its complexity, functions with gentle intention. It works not in isolation, but as part of the vast ecosystem of your body. This understanding can bring calm reassurance that beneath everything you experience, there is a foundation of microscopic balance, always active, always patient, always guiding your inner world toward stability. 5. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. 2. Ancient families. When we look at life on Earth through a microscopic lens, a softly unfolding story begins to appear, one that stretches back billions of years, long before plants, animals, and even the earliest simple multicellular forms emerged. This ancient story begins with two great families of life, the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. Though they exist on a scale too small for the eye to see, their influence is immense, shaping everything from the atmosphere to the inner workings of your own cells. As you ease into this part of the journey, allow yourself to drift gently through time, imagining a world that existed before complexity, before ecosystems, before the Earth resembled anything familiar. In this quiet place, the first traces of life begin to take shape, subtle and small. Prokaryotes, the more ancient of the two families, emerged in a time when the Earth was still cooling, oceans were forming, and the landscape was shaped by volcanic activity. These organisms, simple in structure and remarkably resilient, represent the earliest chapters of biological history. They possess no nucleus, no elaborate compartments, just a single cell surrounded by a delicate membrane. Yet within this modest form lies a complete system capable of growth, replication, and adaptation. Their genetic material floats freely in the cytoplasm, forming a soft loop of DNA that guides their activities. Their simplicity does not diminish their importance. Instead, it allows them to thrive in environments ranging from the deepest ocean vents to the coldest mountain tops, working quietly across the planet in roles essential to life's balance. As you picture one of these ancient cells, imagine its unhurried motions. A prokaryote lives without the highly structured organelles of more complex life, relying instead on fluid interactions within its interior. Proteins and enzymes drift through its cytoplasm, carrying out reactions with subtle precision. Ribosomes float gently, building the proteins that sustain the cell. At this scale, every movement feels slow and steady, as though time itself stretches differently for such simple life forms. Their survival depends solely on their ability to adapt and respond to the environment, and they do so gracefully, adjusting their chemistry to match the conditions around them. Despite their simplicity, prokaryotes are incredibly diverse. Some rely on sunlight, absorbing its energy through pigments and converting it into chemical fuel. Others extract energy from minerals deep underground, thriving where no other life could survive. Still others drift through the human body as part of the microbiome, forming peaceful partnerships with the cells they encounter. In each case, their quiet resilience remains a testament to the strength of simplicity. It is astonishing to imagine that the ancestors of these tiny beings began their journey billions of years ago, persisting through changes in climate, atmosphere, and geology long before complex organisms appeared. The second great family, the eukaryotes, emerged much later in Earth's history, arising from a remarkable evolutionary transition. These cells, which make up all plants, animals, fungi, and many types of microscopic life, contain a nucleus, a soft, membrane-bound chamber where DNA is carefully stored and protected. This nucleus represents a turning point in the story of life, enabling new levels of complexity, organization, and specialization. As you imagine drifting toward a eukaryotic cell, picture it as a larger, more intricate world compared to the humble prokaryote. Its interior contains many compartments, each one devoted to a particular task, allowing the cell to divide its responsibilities with gentle efficiency. The relationship between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is not one of separation, but of connection. In fact, many scientists believe that eukaryotes originated when ancient prokaryotes joined together in a cooperative partnership. This idea, known as the endosymbiotic theory, suggests that early eukaryotic cells began when one prokaryote engulfed another, not to digest it, but to live alongside it. Over time, these internal partners became permanent residents, eventually evolving into structures such as the mitochondria, the softly glowing energy producers found in nearly all eukaryotic cells. You might imagine this ancient union as delicate and slow, a merging of tiny lives into a single, more capable being. It is a story not of conflict but of cooperation, one that resonates with the peaceful interactions occurring within your own body today. As eukaryotes developed, their complexity expanded. Some grew larger, adopting shapes and roles that allowed them to communicate, to move, and eventually to form communities of cells. These communities became tissues, organs, and entire organisms. Yet, even with this complexity, each eukaryotic cell still functions as a quiet ecosystem of its own, containing the gentle movements of organelles suspended in cytoplasm. The nucleus carefully stores genetic information, sending instructions outward like soft whispers to guide the cell's behavior. The mitochondria continue their steady work, generating energy with a calm, rhythmic cycle. The endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus fold and transport proteins with delicate precision. Every structure within the cell contributes to a quiet harmony that mirrors the balance of the entire body. Despite the differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, they share the same fundamental goal: to maintain life through continuous adaptation. Both types of cells respond to their environments with subtle adjustments, shifting their internal chemistry to remain stable. Both rely on the delicate interplay of molecules and signals to guide their actions, and both contain genetic material that carries the wisdom of countless generations, passing down instructions that shape every detail of their existence. This continuity forms an unbroken line from the earliest forms of life on Earth to the cells within your own body today. As you reflect on these two ancient families, it becomes clear that life's diversity stems from these microscopic origins. The bacteria that help digest your food, the yeast that leaven bread, the algae drifting in oceans, the cells that form your muscles and nerves all can trace their ancestry back to these early lineages. Each tiny being carries echoes of its evolutionary past, shaped by gentle changes accumulating over billions of years. The story of prokaryotes and eukaryotes is not merely biological. It is deeply calming in its continuity, a reminder that life persists not through sudden leaps, but through steady, gradual unfolding. Even now, within your body, these two families coexist. Your cells, as eukaryotes, perform their complex tasks with grace. The prokaryotes living alongside them contribute their own strengths, helping maintain balance and supporting your well-being. Together, they create an inner ecosystem rooted in ancient cooperation, a quiet partnership that continues to sustain you moment by moment. As this part draws to a gentle close, allow yourself to rest in the knowledge that your inner world is shaped by a history that stretches back to the dawn of life. The microscopic beings within you, both prokaryotic and eukaryotic, are ancient travelers on the same long journey, one that continues in the calm rhythms of your body. 6. Microbial partners, the microbiome. As you continue drifting deeper into the microscopic world within you, a new landscape begins to unfold, one that is lively yet gentle, intricate yet peaceful, and endlessly varied despite its quietness. This is the world of your microbiome, the vast community of microorganisms that live on and within your body. Though invisible to the naked eye, these tiny beings form a population so numerous that they rival your own cells. And yet, despite their abundance, their presence is soft, supportive, and deeply intertwined with your well-being. As you ease into this part of the journey, imagine yourself slowly approaching this invisible community, not as an outsider, but as one who is welcomed, because the microbiome is, in many ways, an essential part of you. The first thing to understand about your microbiome is its diversity. Envision countless species of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms living in harmony, each occupying its own quiet niche. They are scattered across your skin, lining your digestive tract, settling in the mouth, breathing passages, and other soft, hidden spaces. Each environment offers a slightly different habitat, like valleys, forests, and shorelines in a larger natural world. On the surface of your skin, dry areas support one set of tiny residents, while warmer, more humid regions host others. Within your stomach and intestines, conditions shift gradually from acidic to neutral, from oxygen-rich to oxygen-poor, creating layers of habitats that support a diverse community of organisms. These regions all differ, yet each provides a home for microbes that have adapted over countless generations to live peacefully alongside you. What makes this community so remarkable is that most of its members are not visitors or intruders. They are long-standing companions, shaped by your life experiences, your environment, and even the foods you eat. They are part of an ongoing relationship in which both sides benefit. The body offers shelter, warmth, and nutrients, while the microbes contribute to digestion, immune stability, and chemical balance. They help break down complex molecules, produce essential vitamins, and guide the immune system in recognizing what is harmful and what is harmless. Without them, many of the body's processes would be less efficient, less balanced, and more vulnerable to disruption. As you continue drifting through this inner world, you may imagine the microbiome not as a chaotic crowd, but as a gently flowing community, where each organism carries out its tasks quietly. In the intestines, for example, countless bacteria work slowly and steadily, breaking down fibers that your own digestive enzymes cannot process. Through this activity, they release nutrients that nourish your cells, contributing to your energy and overall stability. Some bacteria even produce short-chain fatty acids, calming compounds that support the lining of the gut and promote a state of internal peace. This interaction resembles a calm exchange in a forest ecosystem, where trees, soil, and microscopic fungi share nutrients in an endless, quiet cycle. Even in the mouth, the microbiome plays a role more delicate than one might expect. Microorganisms gather in small, structured communities along the surfaces of teeth and gums, forming layers that contain both helpful and less helpful species. The helpful ones help maintain a gentle balance, discouraging the growth of more disruptive microbes. Their activity is subtle, involving the processing of sugars, the creation of mild acids, and the release of signals that guide the behavior of neighboring species. This region feels like a shoreline where waves meet land, always shifting, always adjusting, but rarely in a way that feels chaotic. The skin, too, holds its own population of microbes. These organisms form a kind of protective shield, guarding the surface from environmental shifts and interacting gently with the immune cells just beneath. When the skin encounters changes in temperature, humidity, or pH, the microbiome shifts in response, helping maintain stability. These organisms are accustomed to the daily rhythm of sweat, oils, and environmental exposure. They adapt quietly and continuously, always seeking equilibrium. Their presence enhances the skin's resilience, supporting healing and reducing the impact of irritants. It is calming to realize that even on the outermost layer of your body, this invisible community is working gently to maintain balance. As you drift deeper into the microbiome, you may sense that this community is not static. It shifts and evolves throughout your life. When you were born, your first exposure to microbes happened in moments through the environment, through touch. From infancy onward, the microbiome expanded and diversified, shaped by your diet, your surroundings, your experiences, and even the people who cared for you. Over time, it settled into patterns unique to you alone. No one else on Earth has a microbiome quite like yours. It is as individual as a fingerprint, defined not by a single moment, but by the entire collection of your life's quiet interactions. This individuality is soothing in its own way. It means that your microbiome evolves with you, adjusting to new foods, new environments, new routines. When you travel to different places, your inner community gently shifts to meet the change. When you experience stress or rest more deeply, the balance of your microbiome reflects that. In times of calm, the microbial communities often flourish, creating a sense of internal ease. In times of turbulence, they adapt or reorganize, supporting your body as best they can. Their message is one of resilience, of slow and steady cooperation. Despite its complexity, the microbiome works in ways that feel deeply natural. Cells in your immune system communicate with microbial residents, learning from them and forming gentle responses. Some microbes produce small molecules that influence mood, linking the gut to the brain in subtle ways. Others create compounds that nourish the cells lining your intestines, strengthening their quiet barrier against outside disturbances. These interactions may seem intricate, but they unfold at a pace as calm as a slow-moving stream. There is no rush. There is only continual adaptation, communication, and cooperation. One of the most comforting aspects of the microbiome is its ability to maintain balance, even in the face of change. In a healthy state, the various species within it keep one another in check, preventing any single group from overwhelming the others. This balance is not rigid, it is flexible, shifting naturally throughout the day and night. It resembles the gentle sway of a meadow in the wind, always moving, always adjusting, yet remaining whole. Even when your diet changes or you encounter new microbes, this internal community strives to return to equilibrium, guided by countless subtle interactions. As you linger in this understanding, you might feel a growing appreciation for the quiet companionship these microbes offer. They do not demand your attention, and yet they contribute profoundly to your sense of well-being. They have been part of your journey since the earliest moments of your life, and they will continue to walk alongside you in their quiet way. Allow this sense of partnership to settle into your thoughts. Your microbiome is not separate from you, it is part of your inner world, part of your identity, part of your ongoing story. 7. The skin microbiome. Life on the surface. The surface of your body, though it may seem quiet and still from the outside, is in truth a vibrant and delicately balanced environment, home to millions upon millions of microscopic companions. This outermost layer, the skin, serves as both a protective boundary and a thriving habitat where tiny organisms live in peaceful coexistence with you. When you imagine the microbiome, it is easy to picture the gut or deeper parts of the body, but the skin itself is an expansive landscape, one that stretches across every contour, every fold, and every hidden crevice. As you drift into this understanding, imagine yourself slowly approaching this gentle surface, seeing it not as a solid wall, but as a living, breathing environment rich with microscopic life. The skin is made up of layers that, even in their simplicity, create a remarkably varied terrain. Some areas are dry and cool, others warm and slightly moist, and still, others lightly oiled. Each type of environment shapes the community of microbes that settle there. These communities differ from one region of your skin to another, much like different ecosystems in nature, forests, deserts, wetlands, each with its own inhabitants and rhythms. On your forearms, the microbiome tends to be sparse and adapted to dryness. In the crook of your elbow or behind your knees, where warmth and moisture collect, entirely different species flourish. The scalp, cushioned by hair and natural oils, holds yet another balanced community. Your face, touched by the environment and exposed more often to the world, supports a diverse mixture that shifts with temperature, humidity, and even your own emotions, reflected in subtle changes of sweat and oil. These microorganisms are not intruders. They are partners in a long, delicate relationship that has unfolded since the first moments of your life. From the moment you touched the outside world, microbial colonization began, settling gently onto your skin, growing with you, changing with you. Over time, they adapted to your unique chemistry, creating patterns of balance that are truly your own. No other person has a skin microbiome identical to yours. It is shaped by your genetics, your surroundings, your routines, and even the kinds of fabrics you wear or the air you breathe. This individuality brings a sense of quiet comfort. Your skin microbiome is, in its own way, a reflection of your personal journey. As you imagine drifting across the surface of the skin, picture the microbial residents not as scattered particles, but as communities arranged in soft clusters and delicate films. In some places, they form thin layers that help maintain a stable pH, creating a gentle acidity that discourages harmful organisms. In other areas, they dwell in the openings of hair follicles, nestled in warm, sheltered spaces where sebum provides nourishment. Some microbes metabolize these oils, breaking them down into simpler compounds that help moisturize the skin or support its barrier function. Each species performs its own quiet task, contributing to the overall stability of the skin ecosystem. The skin itself is always in motion, cells dividing, rising, and eventually shedding from the surface. This continual renewal creates a shifting landscape, and the microbes adapt gracefully to each change. As old cells fall away, new ones emerge, offering fresh surfaces for microbial communities to settle. When the skin becomes warmer through exercise or emotion, different species briefly flourish before the environment cools and balance is restored. This rhythm is gentle and cyclical, like tides washing over a shoreline. Rather than resisting change, the skin microbiome flows with it, adjusting its population and activity to maintain a harmonious equilibrium. Communication between your body and its skin microbiome is subtle but constant. Immune cells residing beneath the surface of the skin monitor the microbial population. They are not activated by the mere presence of microbes, but by shifts that fall outside the familiar balance. This means the immune system interprets your microbial residents almost like peaceful neighbors, recognizable, predictable, and part of the neighborhood. This familiarity helps the immune system stay calm. Your body understands its microbial partners intimately, and this mutual recognition creates a calm and resilient environment. In turn, the microbes help educate and support the immune system. They produce molecules that signal to immune cells, guiding them to respond in a measured, appropriate way. Some microbes help regulate inflammation, preventing unnecessary reactions that could irritate the skin. Others compete gently with potential invaders, occupying space and resources so that harmful organisms find little opportunity to take hold. The result is a soft, protective synergy, microbes supporting the body and the body supporting its microbial residents. As you continue to explore this surface landscape in your imagination, tiny droplets of sweat carry salt and moisture to the surface, subtly altering the environment. Natural oils rise from the sebaceous glands, creating a protective sheen that nourishes certain microbial species. Environmental factors, sunlight, breeze, fabric touch the skin in passing. Yet, despite all these variations, your skin remains stable, protected by both its physical structure and its microbial inhabitants. It is a living, adaptive shield, capable of withstanding the world's constant changes without losing its calm center. Even the sensations you feel on the skin, warmth, coolness, texture, are influenced by microscopic interactions. The presence of microbes may guide nerve endings indirectly, helping maintain equilibrium across the surface. While you cannot perceive the individual motions of these tiny partners, their combined activity creates a sense of comfort and familiarity that shapes your experience of touch, temperature, and even the softness of your own movements. One of the most soothing aspects of the skin microbiome is that it remains with you throughout your life. It grows more complex as you age, reflecting the subtle changes in your environment and lifestyle. It adapts to seasons, shifting gently between summer warmth and winter dryness. It responds to stress and relaxation, becoming more balanced in calmer moments. It even evolves as your personal routines change, such as when you travel or introduce new habits. It remains a quiet, stabilizing presence on the surface of your body. As you breathe softly and let these images settle, it is a living community that thrives not by dominating its environment, but by remaining flexible, cooperative, and ever adaptive. Its goal is not to overwhelm, but to maintain harmony, offering protection and support with a gentle, continuous presence. Let this awareness spread through your thoughts like a soft warmth. Your skin, often taken for granted as a simple barrier, is in fact a thriving ecosystem maintained by trillions of tiny lives. They are your companions, your guardians, and your partners in balance. 8. The oral microbiome, the gateway communities. As we continue drifting through the gentle ecosystems that make up your inner world, we come to a place that is both familiar and quietly intricate: the mouth. The oral cavity is not only the entryway for nourishment, breath, and speech, it is also home to one of the most diverse and active microbial communities in your entire body. This community, known as the oral microbiome, lives upon the soft surfaces of the cheeks, the tongue, the gums, and the teeth. Although these organisms are far too small to be seen without magnification, their presence is constant, subtle, and essential. As you ease into this part of the journey, imagine yourself moving inward, not to a place of noise or activity, but to a calm and rhythmic world where countless tiny lives interact peacefully within the warm glow of your inner landscape. The mouth presents a unique environment, one shaped by moisture, warmth, and the continual movement of air and food. This region experiences frequent change, temperatures rising and falling with each sip, chemicals shifting with each meal, and textures varying from smooth liquids to crisp foods. And yet, despite all this variability, the microorganisms living here have adapted to this dynamic environment through countless generations, forming a resilient community capable of responding softly and efficiently to each shift. As you drift across the inner surfaces of the mouth in your imagination, you might picture the microbial residents arranged in delicate clusters, clinging gently to the moist surfaces. On the tongue, the tiny bumps and grooves provide shelter and attachment points. In these crevices, microbes form soft, layered communities, each layer containing different species that interact in quiet cooperation. The gums create another habitat, warm and protected, where microorganisms settle along the fine edges where tissue meets tooth. Even the enamel of the teeth, although hard and smooth, serves as a foundation for thin films of microorganisms. These films form slowly and gently, built by species that adhere lightly to the surface, creating a stable environment for themselves and others. The oral microbiome is not a solitary population, but a community that functions through balance and mutual support. Each species plays a role, whether breaking down small food particles, processing sugars, or producing molecules that help maintain the pH of the mouth. When you eat, the microorganisms respond to the new conditions, adjusting their activity to process the nutrients. When you rest, they continue their soft routines, sustaining the environment that supports them. These processes occur without any noise or disruption, unfolding like quiet, steady ripples across a still pond. One of the most fascinating aspects of the oral microbiome is the formation of structured communities known as biofilms. While the term may evoke complexity, a biofilm can be imagined as a gentle neighborhood of microbes living together in layers. These layers are formed through slow accumulation, with microorganisms attaching first to the surface, then to one another, creating soft networks held together by subtle molecular strands. The biofilm protects its residents from sudden changes, offering stability in a place where temperatures, moisture levels, and chemical compositions shift throughout the day. Through this structure, the microbial community maintains its peaceful existence even as the environment around it fluctuates. Within these communities, communication occurs constantly. Microorganisms release tiny chemical signals that float like whispers through the warm, moist space. These signals help regulate growth, guide movement, and coordinate responses. When nutrients arrive, certain species become more active, breaking them down into forms that other microbes or even your own cells can use. When the environment becomes less favorable, perhaps from a sudden change in pH or a decline in moisture, the community gradually adjusts, shifting its composition to restore balance. Each adjustment is calm and incremental, unfolding in a way that preserves harmony rather than disrupts it. The mouth is also a place where the microbiome and the body form a deep and delicate partnership. The immune system, stationed just beneath the tissues, keeps watch over the microbial population. Yet, rather than responding aggressively, it maintains a peaceful and measured presence. Immune cells recognize the familiar residence of the oral microbiome, allowing them to exist without disturbance. This familiarity has been built over years, shaped by the foods you eat, the air you breathe, and the routines you follow. When small disruptions occur, immune cells respond gently, guiding the community back toward balance rather than attempting to eliminate it entirely. In return, the microbes offer support to the immune system, producing molecules that help maintain tissue health and reduce unnecessary inflammation. Some species create byproducts that nourish the cells lining the mouth, helping preserve the integrity of the tissues. Others compete softly with more harmful organisms, preventing them from establishing themselves by occupying space and consuming available nutrients. This gentle competition ensures that the environment remains stable and balanced, much like how native plants in a meadow prevent invasive species from overwhelming the landscape. Another soothing aspect of the oral microbiome is the rhythm of its daily cycle. During the day, it adjusts to the frequent arrival of food and drink. At night, when the mouth becomes still and dry, its composition shifts again. Certain species become more active, processing leftover nutrients and maintaining the environment until morning returns. This quiet nighttime activity mirrors the rhythms found in nature, where some creatures rest while others awaken, all contributing to the continuity of the ecosystem. As you explore this landscape in your mind, you may also appreciate how the oral microbiome influences more distant parts of the body. The mouth serves as a gateway to the digestive system and, in some ways, to the entire body. Microbes from the mouth travel downward with each swallow, interacting with the environment of the gut. In doing so, they help shape the microbiome of deeper regions. Their presence also stimulates certain immune responses, gently training the body to differentiate between peaceful residents and true threats. This deep interconnectedness highlights the importance of balance at every level, from the surfaces of the teeth to the farthest organs of the body. The mouth is also a place of rich sensory experience. And although microorganisms operate far below the level of conscious awareness, their influence subtly supports this sensory world. By helping maintain the health of the tissues, they create the conditions necessary for taste buds and nerve endings to function with clarity. Even the feeling of freshness or comfort in the mouth can be linked to the balance of its microbial community, quietly shaping how we experience the world. Through all of this, the oral microbiome remains a model of resilience. It endures the daily transitions of heat and cold, the arrival of food, the movement of the tongue, the flow of saliva, and yet, despite these constant shifts, it finds its way back to equilibrium again and again. It is a community shaped by patience and adaptability, thriving not through force but through cooperation. As you let this understanding settle gently within your thoughts, it becomes clear that the oral microbiome is more than a cluster of tiny organisms. It is a living gateway, a peaceful mediator between the outside world and the deeper regions of your body. It is a community shaped by your life, your habits, and your environment, reflecting your individuality in countless subtle ways. 9. The gut microbiome, a forest within, As we drift deeper into the inner world of the body, we come upon one of its most remarkable and gently bustling environments, the gut microbiome. Here, within the winding passages of the digestive tract, a vast community of microorganisms flourishes in a harmony so intricate and continuous that it resembles a quiet, living forest. This internal landscape stretches from the stomach to the far reaches of the intestines, unfolding through regions that differ in warmth, acidity, moisture, and rhythm. And yet, through all these variations, the gut microbiome remains a well-orchestrated ecosystem, one that supports your health in countless subtle ways. As you settle into this segment of the journey, imagine yourself drifting along the soft, dim interior of this forest-like world, sensing the gentle choreography of life taking place in every hidden corner. The gut is an environment rich in texture and movement. The walls of the intestines are lined with delicate folds and finger-like projections known as villi, each covered with even smaller structures called microvilli. These folds dramatically increase the surface area available for absorption, creating countless sheltered spaces where microbial communities can settle. If you imagine looking closely at this surface, you might picture it as a gently undulating landscape, like rolling hills covered in soft, feathery growth. Within these sheltered valleys, billions of microorganisms find a home. They attach lightly to the surfaces or drift in the surrounding fluid, working together to process the foods that move slowly past them. The diversity of species in the gut microbiome is astounding. Some microbes specialize in breaking down complex fibers found in plant foods. Others excel at processing starches, proteins, or fats. Still others produce molecules that nourish the cells lining the intestines. This division of labor creates a gentle interconnectedness. One microbe breaks down a compound, releasing smaller molecules that become resources for another. In this way, nutrients are gradually transformed into forms your body can absorb, like a forest floor where fallen leaves slowly turn into fertile soil through the quiet work of countless small organisms. The entire process is slow, rhythmic, and continuous, happening with a natural ease that reflects millions of years of coevolution between humans and their microbial partners. As you drift farther along this inner landscape, you may sense that the gut microbiome is not only involved in digestion but also in maintaining the delicate balance of the immune system. Many immune cells reside just beneath the surface of the intestinal lining, watching over the microbial community with calm attentiveness. These cells are constantly in communication with the microbes around them, learning to distinguish between peaceful residents and potential threats. This training helps the immune system respond appropriately, avoiding unnecessary reactions while remaining ready to act when truly needed. The relationship between gut microbes and immune cells is mutual. The microbes help guide the immune system's development, and the immune system, in turn, creates an environment where beneficial microbes can thrive peacefully. The gut microbiome also influences the production of neurotransmitters and other signaling molecules, sending subtle messages through the gut-brain axis. These messages travel along nerves or through the bloodstream, gently shaping mood, digestion, and even patterns of sleep. While this communication is far too faint to be felt directly, it creates a calm continuity between the mind and the body. When the gut microbiome is balanced, the signals it produces help create a sense of internal harmony, supporting emotional steadiness and contributing to the deep, grounded feeling of well-being that arises in restful moments. Within the small intestine, the microbial population is lighter and more selective. The flow here is steady and gentle, allowing only certain species to flourish. By contrast, the large intestine, or colon, holds the greatest abundance of microbes. The environment there is slow-moving and rich in undigested materials, creating a perfect habitat for microbial activity to flourish. In this region, microorganisms work cooperatively to break down fibers that human enzymes cannot digest. They slowly ferment these fibers, transforming them into beneficial compounds such as short-chain fatty acids, which soothe inflammation, support metabolic balance, and nourish the intestinal lining. This fermentation resembles the quiet decomposition that occurs in natural ecosystems, where organic matter is returned to the soil through gradual, unseen processes. The gut microbiome also helps maintain the integrity of the intestinal barrier. The cells lining the intestines form a delicate but essential boundary between the inner body and the outer environment represented by the foods we eat. Microbes support these cells by producing nourishing compounds and helping regulate their renewal. This ensures that the barrier remains selectively permeable, allowing nutrients to pass through while keeping unwanted substances out. The stability of this boundary contributes to your overall sense of wellness, supporting the balance between the inner and outer worlds in a steady, unbroken rhythm. As you continue your slow descent through this inner forest, you might notice how the composition of the microbiome changes gradually along the digestive tract. Each region creates its own microclimate, its own community structure, its own rhythm. The stomach, with its strong acidity, supports only a few resilient species. The small intestine gradually becomes more welcoming as acidity decreases, allowing more delicate species to participate in digestion. The colon becomes a densely populated meadow of microbial life, rich, varied, and deeply interconnected. Despite these differences, the entire system works together with gentle coordination, each region contributing in its own way to the process of transformation and nourishment. The gut microbiome is also remarkably adaptable. When your diet changes, the microbial population shifts in response. When you experience stress or calmness, the balance of species adjusts accordingly. These changes are not abrupt. They unfold slowly and thoughtfully, as though the microbiome listens carefully to the body's needs and adapts to support them. Some species may become more active, while others rest quietly in the background, waiting for conditions to become favorable again. This adaptability creates resilience, ensuring that the gut ecosystem remains stable even as life brings variation from day to day. There is something deeply soothing about imagining this endless, quiet interplay of microbial life. Each species contributes its own small piece, not seeking dominance, but simply participating in the shared task of maintaining balance. Together, they form a community that helps regulate digestion, immunity, mood, and energy, all without ever rising to the surface of your awareness. Their work is subtle and continuous, unfolding in a world of softness and darkness, guided by rhythms far older than any conscious thought. As you let these images sink gently into your mind, you may feel a renewed appreciation for the silent partnerships that sustain your inner world. The gut microbiome is not separate from you. It is woven into the fabric of your existence, shaped by your experiences, nourished by your choices, and responsive to your inner needs. It is a living forest within you, ancient, adaptive, and endlessly patient. 10. Microbes and metabolism, quiet exchanges of energy. If you imagine your body as a living landscape, then metabolism is the soft current that flows beneath everything, powering movement, thought, growth, and rest through gentle, continuous exchanges. These exchanges are not loud or forceful. They are steady and foundational, like the slow turning of an unseen wheel. And at the heart of this quiet cycle, microbes and human cells work side by side, their interactions forming a delicate symphony of energy transformation. As you ease into this next part of your journey, imagine drifting closer to the places where nutrients are received, broken down, transformed, and shared, places where countless microscopic agents participate in an invisible but essential dance. Metabolism, in its simplest sense, refers to all the chemical reactions that allow life to continue. These reactions can be imagined as countless tiny threads, weaving together to support the fabric of the body. Some reactions build up molecules, storing energy gently for future use, while others break down nutrients, releasing energy in a slow and manageable stream. Human cells perform much of this work, using enzymes, organelles, and carefully balanced chemical pathways. But microbes, especially those in the gut, participate just as actively. They take in the nutrients that reach them and quietly transform these materials into compounds the body can absorb, signals the body can respond to. To picture this, imagine drifting into the digestive tract once more, not into the bustling forest we saw earlier, but into a smaller, more focused clearing where individual particles of food come into gentle contact with enzymes and microbes. When food enters the body, the breakdown process begins immediately, yet everything unfolds in a calm and steady sequence. Proteins are gradually unfolded from their complex shapes, carbohydrates begin to loosen into simpler sugars, and fats melt into droplets, ready to be transformed. The stomach, with its slow waves of motion and warm acidity, begins this process with unhurried precision, but it is in the intestines, especially the lower reaches, where microbes step forward as quiet partners in the transformation. Microbes possess a remarkable ability to break down materials that human cells cannot. Fibers, for example, complex carbohydrates found in fruits, vegetables, and grains, arrive in the colon mostly intact. Human enzymes cannot dismantle these structures, but microbes can. They gently ferment these fibers, releasing their stored energy bit by bit. This fermentation process is slow and rhythmic, producing short-chain fatty acids such as acetate, propionate, and butyrate. These compounds become nourishment for the cells that line the intestines, helping them maintain their structure, regulate inflammation, and support the barrier that separates the inner environment from the outer world. This exchange is not only functional, it is deeply cooperative. The microbes receive nourishment from the fiber, and in return, they provide energy to the body in a form that is easily absorbed and profoundly beneficial. This reciprocity resembles the natural cycles found in forests, where nutrients move from one organism to another, maintaining the vitality of the entire ecosystem. Here, within your own body, these cycles unfold with calm consistency, supporting your health in ways that remain mostly unseen, but always felt in subtle ways. Steadier energy, balanced digestion, and an overall sense of internal ease. As you drift deeper into this understanding, another layer of metabolic cooperation begins to reveal itself. Some microbes synthesize vitamins, including certain forms of vitamin B and vitamin K, which play essential roles in energy metabolism and blood regulation. Human cells rely on these vitamins but cannot produce them on their own. The microbes serve as quiet manufacturers, delivering these compounds through gradual release. Over time, these vitamins integrate into metabolic circuits, supporting reactions that help convert food into usable energy or assist enzymes in doing their work. The process of nutrient absorption itself is a gentle collaboration. Once microbes break down fibers and other compounds, the resulting molecules drift towards the lining of the intestines. The cells there, soft, column-shaped structures, absorb these molecules slowly, transporting them across their membranes and into the bloodstream. From there, the molecules travel throughout the body, carried by the quiet flow of circulation. Glucose moves to muscles and the brain to provide immediate energy. Amino acids travel to cells where they are needed for growth and repair. Fatty acids travel to different tissues for long-term energy storage or for use in cell membranes. All of this occurs in a peaceful, coordinated rhythm, guided by hormones and signals that adjust the body's energy needs with gentle precision. The liver plays a central role in this process, acting like a slow, steady guardian of balance. As nutrients arrive, the liver evaluates them, storing some, transforming others, and releasing what the body requires at that moment. It converts excess glucose into glycogen, a soft, compact form of energy storage, and releases it back into the bloodstream when needed. It processes fats, breaks down proteins, and helps detoxify chemicals that might otherwise accumulate. Though the liver is not a microbial community itself, It works closely with the products generated by microbes, creating a continuous flow between digestion, metabolism, and overall stability. Microbes also help regulate appetite and energy distribution through chemical signals. Some species produce molecules that interact with receptors in the gut, quietly influencing hormones that communicate hunger or fullness to the brain. These signals do not overpower the body. They guide it gently, helping shape patterns of appetite in ways that support balance. Through these subtle interactions, the microbiome contributes to the rhythms of eating, digestion, and energy use that define your daily life. As you imagine this inner metabolic dance, picture it as a series of soft currents flowing through the body. Nutrients move from place to place, transformed by gentle forces. Messages drift between cells, guiding them toward cooperation. Energy is released, stored, and shared with a calm continuity. The body, supported by both its own cells and its microbial partners, maintains a delicate harmony that allows you to move, think, and rest without needing to control or even notice the processes unfolding beneath the surface. This harmony is not rigid, it adjusts to your needs. When you rest, the body shifts towards storing energy and repairing cells. When you move, hormones signal the release of stored fuel, allowing muscles to work smoothly. When you eat, digestion slows to receive and process nutrients, while microbes respond by adjusting their activity. And through all of these changes, the metabolic balance remains quiet, steady, and supportive. As you allow this understanding to settle, you may feel a sense of awe at the cooperative foundation that sustains your energy. Microbes and human cells, ancient partners in life's journey, share their work with remarkable unity. They transform the food you consume into the energy that supports your every breath, every thought, every quiet moment of existence. Their work is tireless, yet gentle, and always guided by the quiet intelligence of life itself. 11. The immune system, gentle guardians. As we continue drifting through the quiet, invisible landscapes within you, we now come upon a system that works tirelessly, yet often unnoticed. A system whose presence is steady and reassuring. This is the immune system, a vast network of cells, tissues, and signals that protects the body with calm vigilance. It is often imagined as fierce or aggressive, but within the slow and soothing rhythm of your inner world, the immune system appears instead as a community of gentle guardians, watchful, patient, and deeply attuned to the harmony of your internal environment. As you settle into this part of the journey, imagine these guardians not as soldiers, but as caretakers and stewards who help maintain balance with soft precision. To understand the immune system, imagine yourself drifting through the bloodstream, floating gently along with red and white blood cells. The blood flows steadily, never rushing, carrying warmth and nourishment to all parts of the body. Within this quiet current, immune cells move like soft, drifting lights. Others remain stationed in specific tissues, quietly monitoring their surroundings. Each type of cell has its own way of keeping the peace, but all share the same purpose: to support the body's well-being by maintaining the delicate balance between self and non-self, familiar and unfamiliar, safe and potentially harmful. The immune system begins its work long before any threat appears. From the moment you are born, immune cells learn to recognize the molecules that belong to you and those that belong to the peaceful microbial residents that live in and on the body. This early education lays the foundation for tolerance, teaching the immune system to remain calm in the presence of friendly microbes while staying alert to substances that do not belong. Over time, this recognition becomes profoundly refined, allowing the immune system to maintain stability with remarkable sensitivity. As you drift deeper into this inner landscape, imagine the immune cells scattered throughout the tissues like soft lanterns in a dark forest. Some, like macrophages, move slowly and deliberately, extending gentle arms to sense their surroundings. They quietly clear away debris, old cells, fragments of tissue, and particles that drift into the body. Their motions are patient, almost meditative, resembling gardeners who tend to a landscape with care and respect. Wherever they travel, they help maintain order by keeping the inner environment clean and balanced. Other immune cells, like dendritic cells, serve as messengers. They stand at the boundaries where the body meets the outside world along the skin, the respiratory tract, and the digestive system. They observe the changes in these regions, gathering information about new microorganisms or substances that arrive. With calm purpose, they carry this information inward, guiding the immune system's responses. Their work resembles the quiet communication between caretakers who share news about the environment, helping the body adapt without unnecessary alarm. Then there are the lymphocyte cells that can be imagined as soft, glowing watchers. T cells patrol the body, touching the surfaces of other cells as they move, gently checking for signs of imbalance. When they find something unfamiliar, they send subtle signals to other immune cells, guiding them toward a measured response. B cells, another type of lymphocyte, create antibodies, small, protein-like markers that drift through the bloodstream, ready to attach to foreign particles if needed. These antibodies do not act aggressively. Instead, they serve as gentle identifiers, marking unfamiliar substances so that other immune cells can respond calmly and appropriately. Within the lymph nodes, small, bean-shaped structures scattered throughout the body, the immune system holds quiet gatherings. Here, immune cells meet, share information, and refine their strategies. Although these processes are highly organized, they unfold slowly and softly, like a council meeting held in hushed tones. The lymph nodes filter the lymph fluid that flows through them, catching particles and presenting them to the immune cells within. In this way, the lymphatic system supports immunity with quiet cycles of movement, collecting and returning fluids while offering places for immune coordination. The immune system is not limited to the bloodstream or lymphatic system. It is present in almost every corner of the body, woven gently into the tissues. In the gut, immune cells maintain a peaceful dialogue with the microbiome, learning which microbes are friendly and which might require closer observation. They help maintain the integrity of the intestinal lining, soothing inflammation and encouraging the renewal of cells. In the lungs, immune cells sit near the delicate passages where air enters the body, offering subtle protection against particles carried by the wind. In the skin, they reside beneath the surface, responding softly to signals from the microbial communities above. One of the most calming aspects of the immune system is its ability to remain at rest when there is no need for action. This quiet readiness allows the body to conserve energy and maintain a sense of internal peace. The immune system does not exist in a constant state of alertness. Instead, it rests, listens, and responds only when necessary. When a minor imbalance occurs, the response is often gentle, small adjustments in the flow of chemical signals, tiny shifts in the activity of cells. These responses help restore harmony without disturbing the broader calmness of the body. Even when the immune system must respond more fully, the process is remarkably coordinated. Immune cells communicate with one another through chemical messengers, adjusting their activity as needed. They increase their numbers gradually, not suddenly. This measured approach protects the body from unnecessary strain and preserves the overall sense of equilibrium. Throughout your life, the immune system continues to learn, adapting to new environments, new experiences, and new microbial companions. Its memory grows richer with time, allowing it to recognize familiar substances and respond with greater efficiency. Yet, even as it becomes more knowledgeable, it retains its underlying kindness. Its purpose is not to overwhelm but to support, to maintain balance, and to preserve the quiet continuity of your inner world. As you reflect on the immune system's gentle guardianship, you may find comfort in knowing that this protective network is always present within you, watching over your body with patience and care. It works in harmony with your cells, with your microbiome, and with the rhythmic processes of your inner landscape. You do not need to control it or even notice it. It simply continues its work, creating a sense of safety that allows you to rest, breathe, and move through life with ease. 12. The endocrine system, chemical whispering. As our quiet journey continues through the peaceful inner landscapes of the body, we now drift toward a system that communicates not through touch or movement, but through messages carried in the gentle currents of the bloodstream. This is the endocrine system, a network of glands and tissues that releases hormones, tiny chemical messengers that travel softly through the body, guiding countless functions with subtle precision. Unlike the rapid signals of the nervous system, endocrine signals unfold slowly, like whispers carried on a calm breeze. They move with patience, delivering their messages gradually, shaping your inner rhythms in a way that is steady, continuous, and often unnoticed. As you settle into this part of the journey, imagine these hormonal whispers drifting through your body, helping maintain harmony without ever disturbing the stillness. To understand the endocrine system, imagine floating through the bloodstream once more. The blood flows quietly, without rush, reaching every corner of the body. Within this flow, some molecules stand out not for their size or brightness, but for their purpose. These are the hormones, released only when needed, each one carrying a specific instruction. They come from endocrine glands scattered throughout the body, each gland a small and dedicated source of quiet guidance. The pituitary gland, nestled deep within the brain, releases hormones that influence many other glands. The thyroid, located at the front of the neck, shapes the body's energy usage and warmth. The adrenal glands, perched atop the kidneys, help regulate the body's response to change and balance. The pancreas supports the regulation of glucose, ensuring the body has steady access to fuel. The ovaries and testes guide reproductive rhythms, bringing slow cycles and steady patterns that unfold across months and years. Each of these glands works not by force, but by sensitivity. They listen to the body's internal environment, releasing their hormones only when the need arises. And because hormones travel through the bloodstream, they touch many cells as they move. Each cell responds only if it has the proper receptor, like a lock opening for a particular key. Cells that do not have the matching receptor simply let the hormone drift past, allowing the message to continue onward to where it is most appropriate. This allows the endocrine system to deliver messages widely yet selectively, ensuring the entire body remains in synchronized balance. The release of hormones often begins with the brain sensing a shift, perhaps a change in temperature, the presence of food, a variation in blood chemistry, or even the soft transition from day to night. The brain does not respond with alarm. Instead, it adjusts its signals subtly. If energy levels are dipping, it may gently encourage the thyroid to produce hormones that increase metabolic activity. If the day is winding down and the environment grows darker, the brain softly cues the pineal gland to release melatonin, the hormone that guides the onset of restfulness. This release is gradual, like the dimming of light as the sun sets. Melatonin drifts into the bloodstream, encouraging the body to settle, helping the mind transition into a state of ease. Drifting deeper into the endocrine system's workings, imagine how each hormone affects its target cells. When a hormone reaches a cell designed to receive it, a soft change unfolds. The cell might begin to take in more glucose, or produce a certain protein, or activate a pathway that leads to growth or repair. These changes happen slowly, unfolding over minutes or hours rather than seconds. This slowness is part of what makes the endocrine system so calming. It shapes the body's long-term rhythms, sleep cycles, growth patterns, energy levels, and the quiet transitions that accompany aging. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is abrupt. The body's internal tempo remains gentle and measured. Consider insulin, a hormone released by the pancreas when nutrients enter the bloodstream. Insulin acts like a soft invitation to cells, encouraging them to open their membranes and take in glucose. The cells respond quietly, absorbing the energy they need. As glucose levels gradually decline, the pancreas senses the change and reduces insulin release. This feedback loop, gentle, responsive, and balanced, helps maintain stable energy within the body. Throughout the day, this rhythm repeats, adjusting to meals, movement, rest, and even emotion. It is a calm, ongoing conversation between the pancreas, the bloodstream. The thyroid plays a similarly delicate role. It releases hormones that guide the body's metabolic rate, determining how quickly energy is used. When these hormones are present in the right amounts, the body feels balanced and steady. Temperature is regulated with ease. The heart beats in a calm rhythm. Digestion flows smoothly. When metabolic needs shift due to cold weather, activity, or rest, the thyroid adjusts its output, helping the body stay aligned with inner and outer conditions. Its influence touches nearly every cell, yet it acts quietly, without urgency. The adrenal glands, though often associated with stress, also contribute to a deeper sense of calm when the body is at rest. They release hormones that help maintain blood pressure, regulate salt and water balance, and support the body's transitions throughout the day. Even the hormone cortisol, known for its role in stress responses, follows a gentle daily rhythm when the body is balanced. It rises softly in the morning, helping you wake and prepare for the day, then slowly declines as the hours pass, allowing the body to settle into evening. In a calm state, the adrenals whisper their signals with the same soft steadiness found throughout the endocrine system. The reproductive glands add yet another layer of long-term rhythm. Their hormones shape cycles of development, fertility, and aging. These cycles are slow and natural, unfolding over years and decades. They guide growth in adolescence, bring balance in adulthood, and shift gently in later life. These hormonal transitions, though subtle, help the body adapt to changing needs, offering support during each phase of life's quiet unfolding. As these hormonal whispers drift through the bloodstream, they interact not just with individual cells, but with entire systems. They influence digestion, helping guide appetite and nutrient use. They shape mood, interacting with neurotransmitters in the brain. They support bone strength, muscle repair, and the calm renewal of tissues throughout the body. Their influence is everywhere, yet always soft, always supportive. One of the most soothing aspects of the endocrine system is the way it maintains balance through feedback loops. Each hormone, once released, creates a response that signals whether more or less is needed. This creates an ongoing cycle of adjustment, a gentle dialogue between organs. If hormone levels rise too high, the body reduces output. If they fall too low, production increases. Through these subtle corrections, the body preserves stability without your conscious involvement. It is a system built on trust that each part will listen, respond, and maintain equilibrium. As you reflect on the endocrine system, imagine these chemical whispers flowing through you now, guiding bodily rhythms with quiet grace. The system needs no effort from you, no attention, and no instruction. It simply functions, supporting your ability to rest, digest, move, and dream. Its messages drift through you with the gentleness of a soft breeze, shaping your inner world with calm intention. 13. Neurons, soft sparks of communication. As we drift deeper into the quiet, intricate world within you, we now arrive at a place where communication takes on an entirely different form. A place where signals move not through the slow flow of hormones, nor through the gentle contact of cells, but through soft pulses of electricity. These are the neurons, the extraordinary cells that carry messages throughout your nervous system with calm precision. Although we often imagine electrical activity as sharp or intense, the reality within the body is far more delicate. Neurons do not flash like lightning or crackle like sparks. Their signals rise and fall in smooth waves, like ripples in a still lake touched by the gentlest breeze. As you settle into this part of your journey, imagine these soft sparks traveling quietly through the body, creating a network of communication that supports every sensation, movement, and thought. A neuron is uniquely shaped for its role. Imagine drifting toward one now, floating through the warm interior of the body until its form comes into view. You first notice the cell body, a rounded, softly glowing center where the nucleus rests. Branching outward from this center are countless delicate extensions called dendrites. These dendrites reach outward like the fine branches of a quiet tree, creating a wide network for receiving signals from other neurons. Their surfaces are dotted with tiny receptors, each one ready to sense the faint chemical messages drifting toward them. These messages, called neurotransmitters, are released in microscopic amounts, drifting across the tiny gap between neurons, known as the synapse. When a neurotransmitter touches its matching receptor, it creates a small shift inside the receiving neuron, a subtle change in the electrical potential across its membrane. These changes accumulate slowly, like drops of water gathering in a still pool. Extending away from the cell body is the axon, a long, slender structure that carries signals toward other cells. If dendrites resemble fine branches, the axon is like a quiet pathway stretching across a landscape. In many neurons, this axon is wrapped in a soft, insulating coating known as the myelin sheath. This sheath, made of specialized support cells, helps the electrical signal travel efficiently, guiding it along the axon in smooth, controlled steps. Rather than flowing continuously, the signal progresses in gentle leaps, moving from one gap in the myelin to the next. These leaps are called saltatory conduction, and though their name may sound lively, the process feels serene in this inner imagining, like stepping stones across a shallow stream, each one helping the signal maintain its steady course. At the far end of the axon, the signal arrives at the axon terminals, tiny swellings that hold vesicles filled with neurotransmitters. When the electrical signal reaches these terminals, it prompts the vesicles to release their chemical contents into the synaptic space. This release is not abrupt. It is controlled and measured, occurring only when the neuron has accumulated enough input to produce a meaningful response. The neurotransmitters then drift across the synapse with quiet grace, ready to influence the next neuron in the chain. In this way, electrical and chemical forms of communication intertwine, forming a soft but highly coordinated network of messages flowing through the body. These processes, electrical signals, vesicle release, receptor activation, unfold constantly, yet silently. Even now, as you rest and read, millions of neurons are communicating in the background. Some carry signals from the outer world, the warmth of the air, the pressure of your body against the surface supporting you, the light reflected off these words and interpreted by your eyes. Other neurons carry signals from within, the steady rhythm of your breathing, the gentle feedback from muscles, the subtle shifts in blood chemistry sensed by the brain. Still others remain mostly quiet, waiting for a signal that may or may not come, resting yet ready in their calm, receptive state. The nervous system is often divided into regions. The central nervous system, consisting of the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which extends throughout the body. But in this gentle exploration, the boundaries feel less important than the continuity of communication. Neurons in the brain send soft signals to neurons in the spinal cord. Neurons in the spinal cord send messages to muscles, guiding them to move or rest. Sensory neurons bring information inward, while motor neurons send instructions outward. Interneurons, the most numerous of all, form intricate networks that interpret, integrate, and refine the messages flowing through the system. All of this happens within a world of soft currents and chemical whispers, forming an interconnected web that supports life at every moment. One of the most calming aspects of neurons is their adaptability. Neurons can strengthen or weaken their connections based on experience. This process, known as synaptic plasticity, is how learning occurs. When certain pathways are used repeatedly, the synapses in those pathways become more responsive. New dendritic branches may even form, creating additional connections. These changes happen slowly, over time, like new leaves emerging on a tree or gentle layers of sediment building over decades. This plasticity allows the nervous system to adjust to new environments, new skills, and new rhythms without disrupting its overall harmony. Even the process of resting is influenced by neurons. As you drift into sleep, certain neurons reduce their activity, while others become gently active, guiding the body into deeper states of rest. Neurons that regulate breathing continue their slow, steady rhythm, maintaining the rise and fall of your chest. Neurons that regulate heart rate keep their quiet watch, adjusting the beat in response to the body's needs. In the background, specialized neurons in the brain help consolidate memories, moving them into long-term storage through patterns of gentle firing. Sleep is not the absence of neuronal activity, it is a different pattern, a quieter one, shaped by the same calm coordination that defines the waking state. As you wander further in this inner imagining, you may notice that neurons are never alone. They are supported by glial cells, silent partners that nourish them, protect them, and maintain their environment. Astrocytes provide nutrients and maintain chemical balance around neurons. Oligodendrocytes and Schwann cells form the myelin sheath, ensuring signals travel smoothly. Microglia act as gentle guardians, clearing debris and monitoring the brain's internal environment. These glial cells form their own kind of community, working in concert with neurons to maintain the stability and health of the nervous system. Their presence brings an added layer of calm to the landscape, reminding you that even the most active systems in the body rely on quiet support. When you consider this entire world, the dendrites receiving signals like soft vibrations, the axons carrying messages like peaceful currents, the synapses guiding chemical whispers, the glial cells offering protection and care, you begin to sense the beauty of neural communication. It is not frantic. It is balanced, continuous, and deeply intelligent. It supports your thoughts, emotions, movements, and rest with the lightest touch, maintaining the inner harmony that allows your body to function with such seamless grace. As you allow this understanding to settle within you, take a moment to appreciate the softness of this system. Every thought you have, every sensation you feel, every gentle rise and fall of your breath is supported by a network that has been quietly active since the earliest days of your life. It asks nothing of you, demands no attention, and yet it sustains your inner world moment by moment. 14. Sensory cells, translating the world. As we continue drifting through the calm inner realms of the body, we now approach a collection of cells whose role is both delicate and profound cells that translate the world into experience. These are the sensory cells, the quiet interpreters that allow you to perceive light, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Their work is subtle. They do not speak in words, nor do they create sensations directly. Instead, they convert gentle changes in the environment, vibrations, chemical traces, pressure shifts, patterns of illumination, into signals that the nervous system can understand. Through this silent translation, the outer world becomes part of your inner world, woven gently into your thoughts and memories. As you settle into this part of the journey, imagine these sensory cells as tiny, attentive listeners, always receptive to the soft whispers of the environment. Let us begin with touch, one of the earliest senses to develop, and one that remains with you throughout your life as a constant and calming presence. Imagine drifting toward the surface of the skin once more, but this time focusing not on the microbial communities above, but on the sensory receptors beneath. These receptors lie scattered through the layers of skin, like delicate seeds embedded in soft earth. Some respond to light pressure, others to deeper touch, and still others to temperature or vibration. When the skin is brushed, pressed, or warmed, these receptors gently deform. This deformation triggers a subtle shift in their internal structures, opening channels that allow ions to flow in. This small flow generates an electrical signal, which the receptor sends inward along sensory neurons. The signal is faint and precise, carrying information about the nature, location, and intensity of the touch. It does not arrive all at once. It travels in a measured rhythm, allowing the brain to interpret the sensation without confusion or haste. As you drift through this inner landscape, imagine the sensation of touch not as a sharp event, but as a gentle conversation. Sensory cells gathering information quietly and passing it inward like a soft message carried through a peaceful garden. Even the warmth or coolness of the air is sensed in this way, through cells attuned to minute changes in temperature. They respond gradually, helping the body adapt to its surroundings with calm awareness. Moving deeper into this sensory world, imagine approaching the structures responsible for taste. Taste buds lie scattered across the surface of the tongue and along the soft lining of the mouth. Each taste bud contains clusters of sensory cells, shaped like small ovals nestled together, waiting to receive the faint chemical signatures of the foods and drinks you consume. When a molecule touches the surface of one of these cells, it binds to a receptor and triggers a gentle cascade inside the cell. This cascade produces a signal that travels to nearby neurons, which carry it inward to the brain. The brain then interprets the flavors sweet, salty, sour, bitter, or savory, adding it to the overall experience of eating. The process is steady and unhurried, allowing you to savor the foods you enjoy and to respond calmly to the tastes that guide you toward nourishment. Next, imagine drifting upward toward the nasal passages, where the sense of smell unfolds. Here, sensory cells are suspended in a thin layer of mucus that lines the upper reaches of the nasal cavity. These cells have long, hair-like projections that extend into the air-filled space, ready to detect the faintest chemical traces carried by each breath. When airborne molecules land on these projections, they bind to receptors and gently alter the cell's internal chemistry. This generates an electrical signal that travels along the olfactory nerve to the brain. The signals form patterns, like soft harmonies, allowing the brain to recognize and distinguish thousands of different scents. Smell is deeply tied to memory, and the calm signals originating here often evoke vivid impressions of moments long past, scents tied to comfort, safety, or familiar places. Sight, though often associated with brightness and clarity, also has its roots in gentle microscopic processes. Imagine drifting into the eye, moving through the transparent cornea and into the soft, fluid-filled interior. At the back of the eye lies the retina, a thin layer lined with sensory cells known as rods and cones. These cells contain light-sensitive pigments that change shape when struck by photons, tiny packets of light. The change in shape sets off a cascade within the cell, altering the flow of ions and generating a signal that travels to the brain through the optic nerve. Although this process supports the rich detail of vision, at the cellular level it occurs quietly, with each light-sensitive molecule responding individually to the soft touch of light. Rods are more sensitive and help with low-light vision, while cones provide color and fine detail. Together, they create a continuous stream of visual information, seamlessly integrated by the brain into the scenes you perceive. Even the simplest perception, a shadow, a soft glow, a gentle shift of color begins with these tiny sensory cells responding to the world with silent precision. Hearing, too, arises from delicate movements. Imagine drifting into the inner ear, where vibrations from the outer world are transformed into the softest of signals. Sound begins as waves in the air, but within the ear, these waves travel through fluid-filled canals, reaching the cochlea, a spiral-shaped organ lined with sensory cells called hair cells. These cells have fine projections that sway with the vibrations passing through the fluid. As each projection bends, ion channels open, generating a small electrical signal that travels along the auditory nerve. These signals form patterns that the brain interprets as tones, rhythms, and harmony. Whether it is a whisper, a distant breeze, or the soft hum of your own breath, the process begins with these tiny movements within the inner ear. The sensory cells here work continuously, translating sound into gentle patterns without ever breaking the body's underlying calm. Across all these senses, one theme remains constant. Sensory cells do not impose meaning or create experience by themselves. Instead, they gather raw information calmly and pass it inward. The brain, in turn, weaves that information into perception, creating the seamless experience of the world that you know. Even sensations that feel immediate or vivid begin with these quiet processes, unfolding gently at the microscopic level. This softness is part of what allows the brain to function without becoming overwhelmed. Each sense contributes a piece, and the nervous system integrates them into a balanced whole, maintaining a steady awareness of the world. What makes sensory cells especially remarkable is their ability to adapt. When exposed to constant stimuli like a persistent scent, a steady sound, or an extended touch, they gradually reduce their response, allowing the brain to focus on new or changing inputs. This adaptation helps you stay attuned to the world without being burdened by every detail. It also creates periods of rest for the sensory cells themselves, preventing overstimulation and preserving harmony within the sensory systems. As you let this understanding settle, imagine the entire sensory network as a calm interface between the inner and outer worlds. It is always active, always translating, always supporting your awareness, but never demanding your attention. It allows you to move through life with a sense of presence and orientation, knowing where you are, what you feel. 15. Cellular cooperation. Communities in motion. As we drift deeper into the peaceful inner world of the body, we reach a point where solitary cells and individual systems begin to blend into a larger, unified picture. This is the realm of cellular cooperation, the gentle and continuous collaboration that allows the body to function as a cohesive whole. Though each cell carries out its own tasks, it never works in isolation. Instead, it participates in a vast symphony of coordination, exchanging signals, sharing resources, and responding to the needs of neighboring cells with a natural grace. These interactions are not hurried or chaotic. They unfold in steady cycles, quiet rhythms, and subtle exchanges that support your life from moment to moment. As you settle into this part of the journey, imagine countless cells moving like soft currents in a calm sea, each one contributing to the greater harmony of the body. To understand cellular cooperation, imagine drifting through a single tissue, such as the lining of the intestines or the layers of the skin. At first glance, you might see only individual cells, each one enclosed by its delicate membrane and carrying out its daily tasks. But as you draw closer, the connections between these cells begin to reveal themselves. Tiny channels, known as gap junctions, link certain cells together directly. Through these channels, ions and small molecules pass softly from one cell to another, allowing them to share information and stay synchronized. This sharing creates coordinated waves of activity, gentle ripples that help tissues act as unified structures rather than as isolated parts. Cells also communicate through chemical signals released into the surrounding environment. These signals, called cytokines, hormones, and growth factors, drift through the intercellular fluid, touching the membranes of nearby cells. When a cell receives one of these signals, it may adjust its activity, perhaps increasing its energy production, shifting its metabolism, or preparing for division. These adjustments are subtle and measured, allowing the tissue to maintain balance even as conditions change. If one cell becomes stressed or damaged, it can release signals that prompt neighboring cells to help repair the area or to protect themselves. This collective response resembles the cooperation of plants in a forest, where one tree can send signals through roots or mycorrhizal networks to warn others of environmental changes. As you float calmly through this cellular landscape, imagine approaching the immune cells that patrol the tissues. Their presence further highlights the theme of cooperation. Immune cells constantly interact with other cells, learning from them and ensuring that the environment remains safe and balanced. When a tissue is injured, immune cells arrive gently, using chemical cues to guide them. They clear away damaged cells, stimulate repair, and communicate with structural cells to help rebuild the tissue. The process is neither rushed nor violent. It unfolds with the soft precision of a caretaker restoring order to a peaceful garden. Another form of cooperation occurs between cells of different types. For example, in muscle tissue, nerve cells send signals that guide muscle fibers to contract, while support cells provide nutrients to sustain their activity. In bone, specialized cells work together to break down old material and rebuild new structure, keeping the skeleton strong and adaptable. The liver, an organ of remarkable metabolic complexity, relies on the collaboration of many cell types to detoxify compounds, produce proteins, and manage energy stores. Each cell contributes a different function, yet all operate in calm partnership, maintaining the organ's steady rhythm. Perhaps one of the most beautiful examples of cellular cooperation is found in the blood. Red blood cells, though lacking a nucleus, serve as carriers of oxygen. Their soft, flexible shapes moving smoothly through tiny capillaries. Platelets circulate quietly, ready to help seal even the smallest injuries. Meanwhile, white blood cells drift through the bloodstream, watching for signs of imbalance. Although each type of blood cell is distinct, their interactions ensure that the circulatory system remains both dynamic and stable. Blood plasma carries nutrients, hormones, and signaling molecules from one region of the body to another, creating a continuous dialogue between distant cells. This fluid communication connects the entire body, allowing each cell to influence and support others, no matter how far apart they may be. The cooperation between human cells and microbial partners also plays a central role in your internal harmony. As you recall from earlier parts of this journey, the microbiome produces beneficial molecules, supports the immune system, and assists in digestion. In return, the body provides nutrients, warmth, and shelter. This partnership is ancient, shaped by countless generations of shared evolution. The boundaries between human and microbial cells blur in this cooperative framework, forming a unified ecosystem in which all participants contribute to the greater whole. Communication between these communities occurs through chemical signals, metabolites, and gentle adjustments in response to one another's presence. This interdependence enhances resilience, providing stability even when the external environment changes. Cellular cooperation also unfolds during development and growth. When new tissues form, whether in the developing embryo or during the quiet renewal of adulthood, cells guide one another's movements, shapes, and identities. They release signals that encourage neighboring cells to differentiate or to fold into specific patterns. This guidance creates the structures that support the body's life: the branching of lungs, the layering of the skin, the formation of blood vessels, and the delicate architecture of the nervous system. Each step is orchestrated not by a single leader, but by the collective interplay of countless cells responding to cues with patient, incremental adjustments. In the background of all these interactions lies the extracellular matrix, a network of proteins and fibers that provides physical support. This matrix is not merely a scaffolding. It also carries signals and interacts with cells to influence their behavior. Cells attach to this matrix, sensing its composition and responding accordingly. When the matrix becomes stiff, certain cells may alter their shape or divide differently. When it softens, they may migrate or relax. This mechanical dialogue influences many aspects of cellular life, adding another layer to the quiet cooperation that shapes tissues and organs. Even cell death, a natural and necessary part of life, contributes to cellular cooperation. When a cell completes its cycle, it undergoes a gentle process called apoptosis, allowing its components to be recycled without causing harm. Neighboring cells and immune cells assist in clearing the remnants, ensuring the tissue remains healthy. This peaceful turnover supports renewal, enabling tissues to maintain their function over time. It reflects the calm acceptance that even endings play a role in sustaining the continuity of life. As you let these images settle, imagine the entire body as a collection of gently moving communities, each one engaged in its own tasks, yet all connected through a continuous exchange of signals and support. No cell works alone. No process unfolds without influence from others. The body thrives through cooperation, through the soft alignment of countless microscopic lives, moving together in a shared rhythm. 16. Ecological parallels, finding nature inside. As we drift forward into this next part of our quiet exploration, a gentle realization begins to take shape, one that brings together everything we have seen so far. The microscopic world inside you, though hidden from view, mirrors the natural ecosystems that surround us in the outer world. The body is not a mechanical structure, but a living environment, shaped by rhythms, balances, exchanges, and relationships that resemble forests, rivers, coral reefs, and meadows. Life inside and life outside follow the same quiet principles: cooperation, renewal, adaptation, and harmony. As you settle into this chapter, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a tranquil landscape, then slowly shifting your focus inward, noticing how the patterns of nature echo softly within your own body. To begin, imagine a forest, its canopy swaying gently, its layers filled with diverse forms of life. Some organisms thrive in high branches touched by sunlight, while others inhabit the shaded forest floor, each one finding nourishment where conditions are just right. Now picture the intestines, with their folds and villi forming valleys and hills where microorganisms settle. The diversity of the gut microbiome is much like the diversity found in forest communities. Some species flourish in oxygen-rich regions, like the sunlight patches of the forest canopy. Others prefer low-oxygen environments deeper within the digestive tract, just as certain ferns and mosses thrive on the dimly lit forest floor. Each species contributes something essential, breaking down fibers, producing nutrients, supporting immune balance, just as forest organisms recycle materials and maintain the stability of their environment. If you shift your imagination from the forest to a coral reef, you encounter another layer of resonance. A reef is vibrant, colorful, and densely interconnected, with fish, corals, algae, and tiny plankton swapping nutrients and signals in a continual flow. The reef thrives through symbiosis. Corals shelter algae, and algae feed the corals. Inside your body, cellular cooperation mirrors this partnership. The mitochondria within your cells, once ancient prokaryotes, now live in deep cooperation with eukaryotic hosts. They provide energy in exchange for protection and resources. This ancient symbiosis persists in every cell of your body, a soft echo of the coral algae partnerships found beneath ocean waves. Even the communication patterns inside you resemble those found in nature. Think of trees in a forest, linked by underground fungal networks. These networks allow nutrient sharing, signaling, and quiet coordination. In your body, the endocrine system serves a similar role. Hormones released in one region travel through the bloodstream, your internal mycelial network, reaching distant tissues and guiding them gently. The messages are soft and purposeful, helping maintain homeostasis, much like the forest network helps maintain ecological balance. Just as trees sense changes in light or soil moisture and communicate these shifts through their roots, Your cells sense changes in temperature, nutrients, and stress, adjusting in coordinated ways through chemical signaling. Now imagine the steady flow of a river. Water moves through bends and basins, carrying nutrients, shaping landscapes, and supporting life along its path. Blood flows in a similar rhythm inside you. It moves through arteries, veins, and capillaries, delivering oxygen and nourishment to every cell. The red blood cells within this current can be imagined as schools of tiny fish, each one drifting calmly along a familiar route. Immune cells travel through the bloodstream like careful river guardians, watching for imbalances and responding with gentle precision. The river's flow ensures that every corner of its ecosystem has access to what it needs, just as your circulation ensures that every part of your body remains supported and nourished. The skin, with its layered communities of microorganisms, resembles a meadow exposed to wind, sunlight, and rainfall. Some areas are dry, others moist, some shaded, others bright. Each habitat supports different species. The grasses, mosses, and insects of a meadow parallel the diverse bacteria, fungi, and immune cells that occupy the skin. Their interactions preserve stability. When conditions change, temperature rising or falling, the skin's microbiome shifts gently, just as meadow grasses bend under shifting weather. This adaptability allows both ecosystems to maintain balance despite continual external influences. Even your sensory systems echo patterns found in nature. The inner ear, attuned to vibration, mirrors the way. The nose, interpreting chemical traces, echoes how animals in the wild detect scents in the air to understand their surroundings. These sensory parallels highlight the deep connection between the human body and the world. It perceives a connection rooted in shared biological principles that span across ecosystems, large and small. Another parallel emerges when considering cycles of renewal. In a forest, old leaves fall, decompose, and nourish the soil, supporting new growth. In the body, cells also live out their natural cycles. When a cell reaches the end of its lifespan, it undergoes a peaceful process of programmed death, releasing its components to be recycled. Immune cells and neighboring tissues then gently clear away the remnants, making space for new cells to emerge. This cycle of life, death, and renewal ensures the continuity of the body, much like the forest floor ensures the continuity of the woodland ecosystem. There is no urgency in this process. It unfolds steadily, guided by the quiet intelligence of biological rhythms. As you drift through these parallels, you may begin to sense that the body is not merely similar to nature. It is part of nature, built from the same elements, shaped by the same forces, and sustained through the same principles of balance, cooperation, and gentle adaptation. Life expands outward and inward with the same patterns. Forests breathe through their leaves, releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. Your lungs breathe through alveoli, exchanging gases with each inhalation and exhalation. Rivers carry nutrients across long distances. Your circulatory system performs the same function inside you. Coral reefs thrive through partnerships. Your cells form similar alliances. Grasslands adapt to seasons. Your endocrine system attunes your body to cycles of day and night. This mirroring offers a calming perspective. It suggests that the harmony you find in nature, the peacefulness of a quiet forest, the softness of ocean waves, the steady presence of mountains is not separate from you. It lives within you in microscopic form. Your inner world is as alive. And just as ecosystems in nature seek equilibrium, so too does your body, always working gently toward balance through the soft interactions of cells, signals, and microscopic partners. As you let these ecological parallels settle in your thoughts, you may feel a deep sense of belonging to the natural world outside and to the intricate world within. Both are shaped by the same quiet principles. Both thrive on cooperation, and both move through cycles of renewal with patient continuity. 17. Evolution, written in small things. As we continue drifting through the calm interior of the microscopic world, a quiet sense of history begins to settle into view. Every cell, every molecule, every tiny process within you carries with it a memory of the past, echoes of ancient oceans, long lost landscapes, and life forms that once moved through an Earth far different from the one we know today. Evolution is often imagined as something vast and distant, shaped by creatures roaming across continents or swimming through deep seas. But the truest record of evolution is written not in fossils or stones, but in the smallest structures of life itself, in the gentle architecture of your cells, in the behaviors of the microbes within you, and in the biochemical rhythms that sustain your existence. Traces of an ancient story remain alive. As you settle into this chapter, imagine yourself drifting backward in time, following these quiet threads to their origins. Life began in the most humble of places, small, sheltered corners of the early earth where warmth, minerals, and water came together. Picture a world filled with volcanic steam, shimmering pools. In this environment, the first self-sustaining molecules emerged, able to store energy, replicate themselves, and interact with their surroundings. They were not cells as we know them today, but fragile strands that could copy their form. Though delicate, these early molecules formed the first steps toward life's unfolding, shaped by chemical chance and gentle repetition. Their descendants, through countless generations of small changes, gave rise to the earliest prokaryotic cells, the ancient ancestors of the bacteria and archaea that still live within and around you. If you imagine drifting close to a modern bacterium, you are seeing a living connection to this primordial world. Its simple structure, with genetic material floating freely in the cytoplasm, reflects a design that has remained effective for billions of years. Though the world around them changed dramatically, oceans shifting, continents rising, climates transforming, these early cells endured by adapting with patience and precision. Their metabolic pathways, many of which still exist today, were shaped in ancient seas. The enzymes they use, the energy cycles they rely on, and even the membranes that surround them are remnants of solutions crafted in the earliest chapters of Earth's history. In this way, the microbes within you carry silent memories of a time when the planet was young and life was just beginning to find its place. As life continued to evolve, a remarkable transformation occurred, one that would shape the future of all complex organisms. Some ancient prokaryotes formed cooperative relationships, entering into larger cells and gradually becoming permanent residents. These early symbiotic unions eventually evolved into organelles such as mitochondria, now essential components of your own cells. If you picture a mitochondrion glowing softly as it produces energy within a eukaryotic cell, you are seeing the descendant of a once independent bacterium that joined forces with another organism in a moment of mutual benefit. Over billions of years, this partnership became inseparable. The mitochondrion transferred much of its genetic material to the host cell's nucleus, keeping only the pieces needed to carry out its role. Its story is a testament to the power of cooperation, an ancient evolutionary step that allowed life to expand into new shapes, sizes, and complexities. Even now, mitochondria retain echoes of their ancestral independence. They have their own DNA, their own membranes, and their own rhythms of division. Their circular genetic structure resembles that of modern bacteria, offering quiet proof of their origin. Every beat of your heart, every breath, every soft spark of neuronal activity is supported by these microscopic descendants of ancient symbionts. They are reminders that evolution often moves not through conflict, but through gentle merging, two lives blending to create something new, something more capable than either could have been alone. The nucleus of your cells also holds evolutionary history. The DNA inside it is the culmination of countless changes, modifications, and refinements. Some gene sequences stretch back to the earliest forms of cellular life, performing functions so vital that evolution preserved them with remarkable fidelity. Other sequences reflect later transitions, adaptations to changes in temperature, nutrient availability, or environmental shifts. Over time, entire biological innovations unfolded through evolutionary processes. The development of multicellular structure, the diversification of tissues, the creation of systems for communication and coordination. Each step built upon earlier foundations, creating layers of complexity that now support your life from moment to moment. As you drift deeper into this evolutionary landscape, imagine the vast time frame involved. Billions of years, each filled with subtle changes. A mutation here, an adaptation there, sometimes offering an advantage, sometimes simply surviving by chance. These changes accumulated quietly, like grains of sand forming a shoreline. The result is the intricate cellular world inside you, shaped not by sudden leaps, but by the gentle persistence of life adapting to its environment over unthinkable stretches of time. The human microbiome is also a living record of evolutionary history. Many of the microbes that inhabit your skin, mouth, and gut have co-evolved with humans for millennia. They adapted to your ancestors' diets, climates, and ways of life. Their ability to support digestion, protect the skin, or guide immune development did not appear suddenly. It emerged through long periods of coexistence. These microorganisms relied on the human body for shelter and nourishment, and in turn, humans benefited from their metabolic abilities. This mutual adaptation shaped not only the microbiome, but the human species itself. Our digestive tracts, immune responses, and even certain aspects of our metabolism evolved alongside these microscopic partners. Today, they carry the quiet memory of this shared history, continuing to support you with the same ancient rhythms. Even the structure of tissues contains evolutionary echoes. This complexity evolved gradually from simpler nerve nets found in ancient marine organisms. Over millions of years, these early networks expanded, folded, and specialized, eventually forming the brain and spinal cord. The way neurons communicate through soft electrical signals and chemical messengers reflects a process shaped by time, refined again and again until it supported cognition, emotion, and awareness. Every part of the body, from the efficiency of red blood cells to the layered architecture of the skin, carries within it the imprint of evolution's patient work. Not every feature is perfect. Evolution does not aim for perfection. Instead, it shapes life to be workable, adaptable, and resilient. The result is a body that can heal, learn, grow, and maintain equilibrium with remarkable consistency, even in changing environments. As you let these thoughts drift gently through your awareness, you may begin to feel connected not only to your own inner world, but also to the long, unbroken lineage of life on Earth. The atoms in your cells were forged in ancient stars. The energy cycles that sustain you arose in early oceans. The cooperation between organelles and cells reflects ancient partnerships. The microbiome echoes early living communities. And the structure of your body, from organs to tissues to molecules, carries within it a record of the evolutionary journey that brought you here. This understanding brings a deep sense of continuity. You are not separate from the history of life, you are its living expression. Every cell within you, every quiet rhythm, every microscopic process is part of a story written across billions of years. And each breath you take continues that story. 18. Homeostasis, the art of staying balanced. As we drift further into the calm and interconnected world within you, a new theme begins to reveal itself, one that brings together every system, every cell, every tiny molecule we have encountered so far. This theme is balance, the gentle equilibrium that allows the body to remain steady even as the world around it shifts. This balance is known as homeostasis. a word that describes the body's quiet art of maintaining internal harmony. It is a continual process, steady beyond awareness, and essential for life. Homeostasis is not rigid or fixed. It is fluid, adaptable, and deeply intelligent, unfolding in soft rhythms that keep your inner environment stable and calm. As you settle into this chapter, imagine your body as a serene lake, where countless small movements maintain a surface that remains smooth and reflective. To understand homeostasis, imagine drifting into the bloodstream once more, floating peacefully among red and white blood cells. The blood carries warmth, nutrients, oxygen, and signals throughout the body, and its composition must remain within certain gentle ranges for the body to function at its best. The level of water, the concentration of salts, the amount of glucose, the temperature, all are carefully regulated. If any one of these factors shifts too far, the body adjusts softly. These adjustments happen constantly through tiny corrections made by organs, cells, and chemical messengers. Some adjustments occur within seconds. Others unfold over hours, days, or even years. All contribute to the same quiet aim: to preserve the gentle conditions that allow every cell to thrive. Temperature regulation offers one of the clearest examples of homeostasis. Your body maintains a temperature close to 37 degrees Celsius, a range that supports optimal enzyme activity and cellular function. If the temperature rises, perhaps due to activity or environmental warmth, the body responds gradually. Blood vessels near the surface of the skin widen, allowing more heat to escape. Sweat glands release a fine mist of moisture, which cools the skin as it evaporates. These processes are gentle and coordinated, keeping your temperature from drifting too high. When the environment becomes cooler, the opposite adjustments unfold. Blood vessels narrow to preserve heat, muscles may shiver softly to generate warmth, and the body's metabolic rate may rise slightly. These changes occur without conscious effort, maintaining a steady internal environment even as the world outside shifts. Water balance is another essential aspect of homeostasis. The body is composed of a high percentage of water, and even small changes in hydration can affect cells. When the body senses a slight drop in water levels, receptors in the brain respond by guiding the release of hormones that encourage water retention. The kidneys respond by adjusting the concentration of urine, conserving water when the body needs it, and releasing excess when balance is restored. The sensation of thirst also emerges when needed, gently guiding behavior toward replenishing fluids. Each of these mechanisms works in harmony, creating a cycle that maintains hydration with quiet consistency. Glucose regulation mirrors this same soft intelligence. Glucose is the body's primary source of energy, essential for cells throughout the body, particularly the brain. When glucose levels rise after a meal, the pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that encourages cells to absorb glucose from the blood. As glucose levels fall, the pancreas releases another hormone, glucagon, which signals the liver to release stored glucose. These shifts are smooth, responding to need rather than reacting abruptly. The balance ensures that cells always have a steady source of energy, supporting everything from thought to movement to the tiny processes within each cell. Calcium balance is equally important. Calcium is needed not only for bones, but also for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and blood clotting. The body maintains calcium within a narrow range through the coordinated efforts of the bones, kidneys, and digestive system. When calcium levels drop slightly, hormones prompt bones to release small amounts, while the intestines increase absorption. When levels rise, the body gently reverses these processes. This rhythm, though subtle, is essential for maintaining the stability of countless functions. As we drift deeper into this inner landscape, we find that homeostasis involves not just physical factors, but chemical and electrical balance as well. The pH of the blood is kept within a mildly alkaline range, ideal for enzyme function. If pH begins to shift, the lungs adjust the rate of breathing, controlling the levels of carbon dioxide, while the kidneys adjust the concentration of bicarbonate ions. These systems work together, maintaining equilibrium with quiet precision. Electrical balance, too, is essential. Neurons rely on gradients of ions across their membranes to generate gentle electrical signals. The body carefully regulates these ion concentrations, ensuring that communication between neurons remains smooth and continuous. The immune system also plays a role in homeostasis, quietly monitoring for disturbances and restoring balance when necessary. When inflammation rises, signaling molecules work to calm it. When tissues are damaged, repair processes are activated. When foreign organisms enter the body, immune cells respond in measured ways, addressing the intrusion without disrupting overall harmony. In most cases, these responses are contained, targeted, and temporary, reflecting the immune system's deeper aim, not to create conflict, but to restore equilibrium. The endocrine system contributes through hormonal feedback loops. These loops operate like gentle conversations between organs. When a hormone reaches its target and produces the desired effect, the gland then reduces its hormone output, preventing excess. This feedback ensures that the body does not drift too far in one direction or another. It creates a cycle of adjustment that repeats endlessly, guiding metabolic rate, growth, stress response, and reproductive rhythms. Homeostasis is not only about correction, it is also about anticipation. The body often adjusts before major shifts occur. As evening approaches, melatonin levels rise, guiding the body toward rest even before darkness fully settles. As morning nears, cortisol rises gently, preparing the body to awaken. When you begin to move, heart rate and breathing increase slightly, anticipating the needs of your muscles. When you prepare to eat, digestive enzymes begin to flow. These anticipatory changes reflect a profound harmony between the body and its environment, shaped by patterns learned over a lifetime. Even the microbiome participates in homeostasis. Microbes help regulate nutrient availability, influence immune function, and maintain the health of the gut barrier. Their quiet activities support the body's broader balance, acting as an extension of the body's own systems. When conditions shift, microbial populations adjust, helping maintain equilibrium across the internal ecosystem. As you imagine these countless small adjustments unfolding in unison, a sense of deep calm emerges. Homeostasis is not one system's work. It is the outcome of the entire body acting together, responding with gentle intelligence to every change. It is a living equilibrium, one that shifts and flexes, always seeking the middle path. The body does not aim for absolute stillness. It seeks balance through movement, through cycles, through steady correction, a dance of small motions that create stability. This balance allows life to flourish. It gives your cells the environment they need. It supports thought, rest, growth, and healing. It allows you to adapt to seasons, activities, emotions, and changes. It is the constant, quiet backdrop that holds everything in place. 19. Renewal, repair, and cellular cycles. As we drift into the next chapter of this calm inner journey, we come upon one of the most reassuring truths of life. The body is always renewing itself. Even as you rest, even as you breathe softly, countless cells throughout your body are repairing, replacing, and restoring the tissues that sustain you. This cycle of quiet renewal is one of the most fundamental aspects of life. It unfolds continuously, without demand or urgency, guided by rhythms that have been shaped over millions of years. From the surface of your skin to the depths of your bones, from the lining of your organs to the quiet structure of your nervous system, renewal occurs in waves, gentle, patient, and deeply coordinated. As you settle into this chapter, imagine drifting across a landscape where nothing is static and everything is quietly tending to itself with care. To begin, imagine floating along the outermost layer of your skin. Here, new cells are born in the deeper layers, slowly rising toward the surface like soft bubbles drifting upward. As they ascend, they change shape and composition, becoming stronger and flatter, forming a protective barrier against the outside world. By the time they reach the surface, they are ready to be shed, carried away by the lightest touch or the quiet rhythm of daily life. This entire process may take a few weeks, yet it unfolds so gently that you never notice it happening. The skin is renewed continually, maintaining its resilience through an endless cycle of birth and release. Moving inward, the lining of your digestive tract provides an even more vivid example of renewal. The cells here face constant exposure to food particles, digestive enzymes, and microbial activity. To remain healthy, the lining must regenerate quickly. Old cells are replaced within days, ensuring that the barrier remains strong and intact. Stem cells nestled in the folds of the intestinal wall divide softly, giving rise to new cells that migrate upward, gradually taking the place of those that have completed their cycle. This renewal supports digestion, protects the body from unwanted substances, and maintains a sense of internal harmony. Even as food moves through these passages, the tissue below remains calm and steady, supported by the subtle rhythms of cellular regeneration. In the lungs, renewal takes on a different form. Tiny hair-like structures called cilia move in coordinated waves, sweeping debris upward. When these cells become worn, new ones take their place. The alveoli, the tiny sacs where oxygen enters the bloodstream, renew themselves more slowly but still consistently. Each cell that lines these delicate structures plays a crucial role, and when one ages or is damaged, another rises gently to replace it. This process ensures that the lungs remain efficient, allowing the quiet exchange of gases that sustains life. The liver is one of the most remarkable organs when it comes to renewal. Its cells, known as hepatocytes, have an extraordinary capacity for repair. If part of the liver is injured, hepatocytes can divide and replenish the damaged area, restoring function with a calm precision. This regenerative ability resembles the quiet regrowth of a forest after a gentle disturbance, where new leaves and branches emerge in time, preserving the ecosystem's stability. The liver's renewal ensures that it can continue supporting countless metabolic processes, filtering blood, producing essential molecules, and storing nutrients, even as it encounters everyday challenges. In bone, renewal occurs in a slower, more rhythmic pattern. Bone is a dynamic tissue, constantly being broken down and rebuilt by two types of cells, osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Osteoclasts gently dissolve old bone, allowing minerals to be released into the bloodstream. Osteoblasts follow behind, depositing new bone matrix and strengthening the structure. This cycle ensures that bones remain resilient and adaptable, capable of supporting movement and responding to changes in physical activity. Just as the tides of the ocean sculpt and reshape the shoreline, these cycles of bone renewal maintain the body's framework through continual, balanced motion. Even the blood undergoes continuous renewal. Red blood cells circulate for only a few months before being replaced by new ones produced in the bone marrow. These fresh cells carry oxygen to tissues throughout the body, contributing to the soft and steady flow of energy. White blood cells, essential for immunity, are produced as needed, increasing or decreasing in number based on the body's subtle signals. Platelets, which help maintain the integrity of the circulatory system, are also renewed regularly. This ongoing replenishment ensures that the blood remains a vibrant and responsive medium, capable of supporting all the body's quiet processes. In the nervous system, renewal is more selective, yet equally significant. Neurons themselves often last for decades, but they are supported by glial cells that renew and repair their environment. Oligodendrocytes and Schwann cells maintain the myelin sheaths that insulate axons. Astrocytes regulate the chemical environment, restoring balance whenever it shifts. Even within the brain, certain regions such as the hippocampus produce new neurons in a gentle process called neurogenesis. These new neurons integrate slowly into existing circuits, supporting memory, adaptation, and emotional balance. This subtle renewal helps the brain remain flexible, capable of learning and adjusting throughout life. Repair is another essential aspect of cellular cycles. When tissue is injured, whether through small daily wear or more noticeable disruption, the body responds with quiet organization. Blood flow increases gently around the area, bringing immune cells that clear away debris. Nearby cells release signals that guide the repair process, prompting fibroblasts to produce collagen and other structural proteins. Over time, new tissue forms, gradually restoring integrity. This process is rarely abrupt. It unfolds with patience, supported by the body's deep commitment to maintaining equilibrium. At the heart of all renewal and repair are the cell cycles that govern growth, division, and rest. Cells pass through stages during which they prepare for division, replicate their DNA, and separate into two daughter cells. Between these stages, they pause, check for errors, and ensure that the process remains steady and accurate. These checkpoints protect the body from imbalance, allowing renewal to occur safely. Not all cells divide frequently. Many remain in a resting state until they receive signals that division is needed. This restraint reflects a deeper truth. Renewal is most powerful when it unfolds only as needed, preserving energy and maintaining harmony. Stem cells play a particularly important role in these cycles. Found in various tissues, they serve as reservoirs of potential, ready to differentiate into the specific cell types required for renewal. When a tissue needs new cells, stem cells awaken, divide, and specialize. Their activity is carefully regulated by chemical signals from surrounding cells and the extracellular matrix. This regulation ensures that renewal remains proportional, avoiding both insufficiency and excess. The presence of stem cells provides a quiet reassurance, an underlying ability to adapt and regenerate as life unfolds. As you drift through this inner world of renewal, a feeling of calm continuity may settle in. Nothing is permanent, yet nothing is lost. Cells come and go, tissues adjust, systems adapt, all without disturbing the deep sense of internal stillness. Renewal does not arise from urgency, but from the natural rhythm of life, one that has guided organisms since the earliest days of evolution. 20. A restful closing. Appreciation for the invisible world. As we drift gently into the final chapter of this quiet journey through your inner microscopic world, the many scenes we have explored begin to settle into a single, calm awareness. You have traveled through landscapes of cells, communities of microbes, soft electrical impulses, chemical whispers, and rhythmic flows of energy. You have drifted across tissues, renewing themselves through ecosystems within your body, mirroring forests and rivers, and into the ancient evolutionary stories written in every tiny structure. Now, as we bring this journey to a close, we rest in the soft awareness that all of these processes, complex, interconnected, endlessly unfolding, support you with a quiet presence, moment by moment, without ever asking for attention. Let yourself drift now, not through one specific structure or system, but across the entire inner world as a whole. Imagine the body as a vast, peaceful landscape composed entirely of tiny beings and gentle processes. Every square inch of you, inside and out, is alive with activity, yet it is not chaotic. It is deeply ordered, guided by rhythm, balance, and cooperation. Like a forest, it grows, breathes, adapts, and renews. Like a river, it flows with nutrients and signals drifting along gentle currents. Like a meadow or a coral reef, It supports entire communities of life working together in harmony. This world inside you is not separate from your experience of being alive, it is your life, expressed in countless microscopic forms. As you rest in this appreciation, imagine drifting through the bloodstream once more. The current carries soft waves of red and white blood cells, each cell moving with purpose yet without urgency. Oxygen molecules detach and attach in quiet exchanges. Glucose drifts toward the cells that need it, guided by the gentle whispers of hormones. As you float along, you might sense how balanced this flow remains, no matter the time of day or the activity of your mind. It is steady, patient, and continuous, even when you are at rest. This hum of life, steady and calm, is what makes every breath, every movement, and every moment of stillness possible. Now imagine rising toward the surface of the skin. The outer layers, constantly renewing, form a protective boundary, yet they too participate in the deeper harmony of the body. Microbes on the skin communicate quietly with immune cells beneath the surface. The skin breathes, senses, and protects, creating a gentle barrier that connects you with the world. As light touches the skin, sensory receptors respond softly. As temperature shifts, the body adjusts. This responsiveness is subtle but constant, part of a larger balance that keeps you safe and comfortable without demanding your attention. Drifting inward again, picture the soft glow of neurons creating patterns of communication. These signals, traveling in smooth pulses, create your ability to perceive the world, to think, to remember, to dream. Yet even here, where complexity is immense, the tone remains gentle. Neurons cooperate with glial cells, exchanging nutrients, maintaining balance, and supporting the quiet electrical currents that keep your inner world alive with awareness. These processes continue during rest, forming new connections, refining old ones, and weaving new patterns into the fabric of memory and understanding. Your inner world remains active, but never hurried. Float now toward the gut, where trillions of microbial companions live in peaceful coexistence. Their communities function like forests within forests, diverse, interdependent, and constantly shifting. They break down fibers, produce vitamins, and help maintain the body's sense of balance. Their activity, though unseen and unfelt, supports digestion, metabolism, and even aspects of emotional well-being. These microbes, ancient in lineage and gentle in function, represent one of the clearest connections between your body and the larger natural world. They remind you that life thrives in partnership, not isolation. Continue drifting outward into the endocrine system, where hormones rise and fall like tides. These chemical messengers, soft and precise, adjust your energy, guide your sleep, and support your internal rhythms. Their slow movement through the bloodstream resembles the cycles of day and night, of seasons changing, of tides shifting under the pull of the moon. Each hormone acts with a calm intentionality, contributing to the body's equilibrium across hours, days, and years. Their whispers help you maintain the gentle cycles that shape your emotional landscape, your rest, your hunger, and your sense of vitality. Beneath all of this, homeostasis works quietly, adjusting temperature, hydration, pH, and chemical balance. The body's systems, nervous, endocrine, immune, circulatory, speak to one another in whispers, aligning their activity to maintain a state of equilibrium. This balancing act is continuous and deeply intelligent, shaped by millions of years of evolution. It creates a foundation of stability that supports every aspect of your life, from the smallest cellular process to the broadest sensations of comfort and ease. As you reflect on these interconnected worlds, perhaps you begin to feel a sense of gratitude, not a loud or impulsive gratitude, but a gentle awareness of the harmony that sustains you. The microscopic world inside you does not ask to be noticed. It does not require conscious control. It simply works, drawing from ancient patterns and adaptive rhythms to support your existence. Every cell and every microbe plays a part, each contributing its own quiet role in a story that unfolds continuously. And so this journey ends not with a dramatic conclusion, but with a deepening appreciation for the quiet miracles happening within you at every moment. The body is not merely a vessel, not a machine to be maintained or directed. It is a living ecosystem, shaped by time, sustained through cooperation, and guided by gentle laws of balance and renewal. It carries a lineage that reaches back through billions of years, through oceans, forests, ancient skies. As you rest here, at the close of this exploration, communities of microbes continue their soft exchanges. Tissues renew themselves with patience. The body rests in a steady hum of life, calm, silent, and whole. Allow yourself to rest in this awareness. Let the understanding settle gently, like leaves drifting onto still water. There is nothing you need to do, no effort to make. Your inner world sustains you with quiet constancy, and it will continue to do so.